Lin Zaiasu struck with a sword, angrily cutting down Giant Kingshan, who claimed to be the #1 on the cultivation path of Huzhu, directly attacking, using the swordsmanship for which Giant Kingshan was renowned throughout the world. This one strike turned all 6 great sect masters to stone. This one strike made the citizens of Ning City rejoice like mad. This one strike even left Fu Fu's small mouth slightly agape, her whole person like a sculpture. She was Lin Zaiasu's wife. Whether things succeeded or not, this was how she staunchly perceived it in her heart, with a reason that was perfectly justified. That day, he played a moving tune and personally came to Kinkyu to propose to her. This was an invitation. As long as she nodded, this invitation became a contract. She had already nodded. So you must acknowledge it. This is called Jianghu rules. Moreover, ever since coming to Jiangnan, he almost daily played with her, kissing her, touching treasures, even enjoying those things below that shouldn't be touched, so you say he's not her husband. If not for considering the nine-tailed not taking shape yet, she would have already given herself to him. So this is her husband. Heaven as witness, third sister as witness, she was infatuated with him purely because of his face. However, as she played, the owner of this face continuously refreshed his skills before her, becoming an official, all the way to Qingyun, going to Jiangnan, commanding armies as if his arm was directing them, changing magistrates like changing clothes. Today, it was even more of a subversion. How could his swordsmanship be so terrifying? Even this enlightened master, the renowned sword Dao genius of Jiangnan, he dispatched with one sword. Husband, brother Su, you can't do this. If you keep going this way, you will enchant me to death. Let the explosive wind of the whole city sweep for a while longer. Let the bullets in the sky fly for a while longer. Vision turned towards Duanjian Mountain. See today's calamity of the broken sword. Once the heavenly yin-yang chaos array was initiated, the great elder of the Duanjian sect felt a chill all over. A furious shout echoed throughout the sect, "Kill!" Within the sect, all those in the enlightenment of God phase ascended simultaneously, only they could still fly. It must be said, Duanjian sect claimed to be the premier sect of Huzhu, whose strength and foundation were truly unmatched by Dongxuan. Just in terms of enlightenment rules, they had 7 people, and more terrifyingly, behind the sword tomb, 7 people broke through the void. Though these 7 were at death's door, once they emerged, each one had a rule shadow named after the sword behind their head. In this way, there were 14 people in the enlightenment realm. Zhang Tao's heart skipped a beat, finally beginning to take shape the first genuine doubt since coming to Jiangnan. Lord, have you miscalculated? Duanjian sect's strength is overwhelming. Our force might not seal it off. However, from beside, a long laugh was heard. So it turns out that senior brother had arranged for me to come along early on. It's Gu Suixin. Gu Suixin stepped down from the flagship. As he stepped down, he remained a graceful gentleman shaking a folded fan, but as his body sank, the land and mountains below suddenly changed completely, transforming into an ancient and mysterious divine demon domain. Beneath Gu Suixin's feet, a vermilion bird appeared. Before him stood a black tortoise. To his left was an azure dragon, to his right a white tiger. Boom! Directly raising a tide of iron and blood. The great elder of Duanjian sect let out a fierce roar. 4 symbols divine magic. Why does someone from the ancient sect serve the great wilderness dynasty? This is ignorance. Su Lin is my senior brother, Gu Suixin said, understood. As soon as the word was out, the azure dragon swept over, tearing with sharp claws. The dignified great elder of Duanjian sect, a super master with cultivation reaching the mid-stage of enlightenment, was directly torn into a mist of blood. There was absolutely no opportunity to retaliate. Zhang Tao's face was flushed red. Damn, so fierce. Quang Lang, let's get down. Before the words were finished, Quang Lang stepped out. The West were 3 super senior enlightenment stage experts. What makes them super senior? It's because they are the elders of Duanjian sect. What are elders? They are the previous generation of experts, who, following a normal path, would have naturally died of old age long ago, but they forcibly kept themselves alive, sealed by secret techniques underground. When the sect is in trouble, they can rise up and strike, reversing heaven and earth. Such people have insufficient blood energy for prolonged combat. But there's no denying, each is extraordinarily powerful in warfare. As soon as Quang Lang left the flagship, it was as if he had stepped into the isolated, inaccessible ancient sword Tao. And Zhang Tao also chose this area. Just as he stepped down, his heart raced wildly. This area was far more perilous than imagined, faintly bearing the shadows of the Sword World. Sword World, the end point of the Sword Tao. Those in holding the way can face it head-on, but those below holding the way truly cannot. Kuang Lang retreat, Zhang Tao shouted. Despite their distance being less than 100 meters, his shout was fragmented into countless pieces within this bizarre domain, not reaching Kuang Lang's ears at all. Zhang Tao's heart sank to the bottom. However, at this moment, a strange scene appeared on Kuang Lang. Before her, a blood-colored swamp suddenly appeared. The swamp churned, dissipating boundless sword intent. The expressions of the three Enlightenment Masters changed drastically. Earthcore strange races, earth-sinking technique. How is this possible? Their exclamations were heard throughout the sect. No one could believe their ears. The Earthcore strange race belongs to the Earth Tao system. It's utterly incompatible with the Heavenly Tao system. This is the world of the Heavenly Tao. Why would Earth Tao divine skills appear? And the Earthcore strange race's earth-sinking technique blatantly defies Heavenly Tao rules. It can conjure a swamp in midair, where everyone is trapped as if mired in quicksand, unable to move, only to be slaughtered at will. Chapter 789, Chapter 679, Kuang Lang's Earth Demon Sinking Technique, Part 2. The swamp trembled gently, and a blood-red lotus bloomed in its deepest part. With the lotus's appearance, it swept across the entire field. Boom! 3 Enlightenment Realm Masters turned into blood-colored particles, drawn into the blood swamp. Their primordial spirits were shocked and attempted to escape, but the blood-red swamp suddenly opened a blood basin mouth, swallowing the 3 primordial spirits. The blood lotus transformed into a 10-meter-tall soldier goddess, none other than Kuang Lang. Blood light surrounded Kuang Lang, and in one step she crossed 100 meters, once again enveloping the remaining 4 elders. Zhang Tao's heart was pounding wildly. Gu Suixin was a master from the ancient sect, a hidden card prepared beforehand by Mr. Su for them. Then what about Kuang Lang? She was never so terrifying before. Why did she suddenly change? In the past, she always walked the path of a battlefield general, breaking through thousands of troops with invincible power. But now, she developed the secret techniques of the Earthcore strange race, on the battlefield, more like a demon god crossing over from the Earthcore world. In the past, she could withstand a strike from the Enlightenment Rules realm. But now, even without the support of the heavenly yin-yang chaos array, killing those in the Enlightenment realm is like slaughtering chickens. What's going on? The adults are like this, and Kuang Lang is like this too. At the beginning of going to Jiangnan, he thought he was the strongest in this team, but now, he couldn't even rank in the top 3. Gu Suixin resembled an ancient demon god, and Kuang Lang, an earth demon god. The two swept through all Enlightenment realm in moments. Zhang Tao and his other guards faced hundreds of Enlightenment god realm opponents, and the battle tilted instantly. In just a mere quarter of an hour, Kuang Lang walked back from the battlefield. At first, she still had the earth demon god appearance, but upon returning to the flagship, she reverted to her familiar form. Just an iron-blooded general. She raised her hand, and the flag activated. Ning City. The top of the Foreign Affairs Hall was gone. The walls of the Foreign Affairs Hall were also gone. Only a high platform remained. Sitting atop the high platform were 8 people, sitting in the sightlands that covered the entire city. The 6 great sect masters sat as if on pins and needles. But Lin Ziasu did not speak, so no one else dared to either. Oh, they just sipped tea, feeling the sensation of being pricked. They were all Enlightenment Rules masters, and could even hear discussions from every tall building in the city, discussions filled with accusations against the sects and praises for Mr. Su and Lord Zhang. Listening to the increasingly impassioned and undisguised wave of public sentiment, the 6 great sect masters found it harder and harder to sit still. Mr. Su, the Guanyuan sect master Ding Feilong sorted his thoughts and intended to speak. But after uttering just 3 words, Lin Ziasu gently raised his hand. Wait a moment. Then nothing further. After what felt like an endless torment, finally, the sky brightened slightly, and the figure of Kuang Lang appeared on a flagship. Sir, the entire Duan Giant sect has been cleared, with 14 in the Enlightenment realm, 327 in the Enlightenment God realm, and 861 in the Enlightenment body realm killed, and 1.21 million disciples stripped of their cultivation. Boom! The entire place was shaken. Lin Zaiasu nodded slightly. Well done. Do you remember the next steps? I remember. I will now lead the troops to Qingyuan Prefecture, eradicate the remnants of the Duan giant sect, and return all seized possessions to the people, distributing all wealth to the Qingyuan people. Proceed. Yes. The aerial projection disappeared. The entire city fell silent for a moment. Suddenly, a loud shout erupted. Heavenly Magistrate, the heavens have opened their eyes and sent down a just elder. The shout ignited the entire city. Countless people knelt down and shouted. Countless people were moved to tears. In File Mansion, Linjiang Prefecture and Zhejiang Prefecture, the same situation occurred as here. In the state capital Ning City, turning into a tide, sweeping across Huzhou. Even beyond Huzhou, the Zhu River seemed equally ignited by public jubilation. Amid the Ning City tide, on that high platform under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lin Zaiasu slowly retracted his gaze. 6 great sect masters, now it's your turn. Though his voice was not loud, it was heard throughout the city. All cheers came to an abrupt stop, because everyone was concerned about what happened next. Their sects still occupied the 6 mansions of Huzhou. How many common people from the 6 mansions are in Ning City? They left their homes because of the oppression of these 6 sects. They suffered under them without a place to go, all thanks to these 6 sects. They long to devour the blood and flesh of these 6 sects, but they are just ants in troubled times, and today, finally, someone came to deal with them. Let's see how they deal with it. Listening attentively, the 6 great sect masters were already sweating profusely. They witnessed with their own eyes this young man in front of them, slicing giant Qingshan with a single sword. With just that sword, they knew that today, their lives and deaths lay in the young man's hands, at a single thought. They also heard the report of the tall female general to him, and in just a quarter of an hour, the 3,000-year-old Duan giant sect was annihilated. They also personally experienced the terrifying wave of the public's heart, sitting on a high platform watched by the populace, feeling this tide. They never imagined they'd sweat so profusely and squirm uncomfortably in such a situation. Now suddenly hearing Lin Zaiasu's words, facing them like a writ of death, it's your turn. All their courage, all their defiance, turned into flowers in a gale, even if unwilling to leave the branch. They could feel the ground beneath becoming increasingly unstable. Chapter 790, Chapter 679, Kuang Lang's Earth Demon Sinking Technique Part 3. Lin Zaiasu said, cultivation should comply with the heavenly Tao to be practiced in the wilderness, mastered through understanding and benefit all living beings. But how have you acted? Relying on your skills and strength to oppress the people, amass wealth, exploit the communities, and act recklessly. Your path has deviated from the righteous path of a cultivator and is already provoking the wrath of heaven and humankind. If you are unwilling to rein yourself in from this precipice and leave some dignity, I won't hesitate to assist you in maintaining your dignity. Zhang Yuan said in a deep voice, what Mr. Su said is true. If a cultivator becomes a calamity to the people, then they have strayed from the righteous path of the heavenly Tao, fallen into the demon path, and eliminating the demons to protect the Tao is the inevitable trend. The two each spoke a piece. Lin Zaiasu occupied the moral high ground of the heavenly Tao, and Zhang Yuan was even harsher, directly classifying those sects that competed with the people for profit as the demon path. As a result, the psychological defenses of the 6 great sect masters were directly penetrated. They wanted to argue, but the words of Lin and Zhang were so supported by righteousness that they couldn't argue at all. Guangyuan sect master Ding Feilong took a deep breath. Mr. Su, Lord Zhang, our sect is willing to hand over all disciples with criminal records, and from now on, we will strictly restrain our disciples. If there are any more acts of unauthorized violence, there's no need for the government to pursue. Our sect will bind them ourselves and hand them over. Is this acceptable? This is the first promise from a sect. In fact, whether it's your majesty or Song Lifu, their greatest expectation of Lin Zaiasu going to Jiangnan is precisely here. That is, do not act recklessly, do not use martial power unlawfully, do not create a state within a state in the sects, and do not blatantly violate the laws of the dynasty. In the main hall of the prefectural magistrate mansion, Song Lifu let out a long sigh of relief. It should be known that a voluntary promise from a sect is far different from a demand made by an official to a sect. This is a change in the tides. This is a sign that the great endeavor will be completed. However, Zhang Yuren's gaze was sharp. Then what about the people's fat and people's cream your sect has plundered over the years, the civilian farmlands and forests you've occupied? This question directly addressed the core concern of the public. The onlookers awaited nervously. Sweat emerged again on Ding Feilong's back. This. Please give me some time. I will return to the mountain and discuss with the elders to strive for a plan acceptable to both parties. Give you some time, strive for both parties' acceptance, Zhang Yuren said coldly. It's not that I won't give you time. It's that the ethical principles of the heavenly Tao have already given you too much time. No need for discussion, reply now. If you comply, immediately issue directives to withdraw all resources from the sect. If you don't comply, then it's simple, as Mr. Su said earlier. If you don't desire dignity, the dynasty's army will help you maintain it. As soon as his voice fell, it was decisive. The whole city heard it, and the words resonated. In the restaurant above, the crowd was endlessly excited. Is this Lord Zhang also from Beijing? No, he was originally the prefect of Zhejiang, not appreciated by the former prefect, Master Song, and was suppressed to farm in Shankyu. What Master Song? That one colluded with external bandits. The sects in Huzhu acted so wantonly, all because this bandit supported them from behind. Someone said, whoever dares to oppose this bandit in the officialdom is a good official who loves the people. Little old me doesn't know if others are good or bad, but this Lord Zhang is definitely a good official with impeccable character. Everyone should know that 23 years ago, he was the champion scholar, originally. Zhang Yuren, standing now against the sects, also truly established his image, sparking heated discussions throughout the city. Gradually forming a consensus that this lord, like Mr. Su, cares for the world and does not collude with the sects. Some people began to voice that if these two lords could be the prefects in our Huzhu, how wonderful it would be. Upon the high platform, the six looked at each other. Their divine sense transmissions were in utter chaos for a moment. However, to have them voluntarily relinquish resources they had grabbed for 1,000 years, how could they bear it? It must be understood that in their sect, the value of the resources they occupied had always been the capital they boasted about internally. If they ceded them, they truly worried about not being able to quell internal murmurs upon returning. Everyone would criticize them as weak and incompetent. Lin Ziasu gently put down his teacup, his gaze slowly rising. The six great sect masters, as if having mind-to-mind synergy, also simultaneously looked up at him. Lin Ziasu sighed softly, handing over resources grabbed for 1,000 years. Honestly speaking, I feel it's difficult for you as well. But the six of you might as well look at it from another angle. Of the 10 sects of Huzhu, I have already eradicated 4. Compared to the destruction of those sects and the deaths of their members, voluntarily returning illegally seized resources and keeping a sect intact, is it really that difficult? The hearts of the 6 great sect masters shook simultaneously. When weighing 2 advantages, choose the greater. When weighing 2 harms, choose the lesser. This is an eternal principle, Lin Ziasu said. The terms have been offered to you, the choice is in your hands. How you decide is a word away. Ding Feilong, you start, choose. As his voice fell, he stood up. With his standing, Ding Feilong's whole body turned cold. He took a deep breath. I heed the Lord's arrangement. As soon as he spoke, his whole being felt as though the strength had been drained from him. Very well, the sect's offending persons must be handed over within 3 days. At the same time, all resources illegally seized from the people must be returned. Any discrepancies will be seen as you having chosen another path today. All right. Lin Ziasu's gaze shifted to the sect master of Yuxuan sect. Your turn. I heed the Lord's arrangement. And you? In 3 breaths, all 6 submitted. The meeting ends here, you may all leave, Lin Ziasu said. Chapter 791, Chapter 679, Quang Lang's Earth Demon Sinking Technique, Part 4. The 6 people slowly stood up. The sky was still the same sky. The rain was still the same rain, but they clearly felt the dimness of heaven and earth. With a move of their feet, the 6 simultaneously flew up, straight into the sky. No earth-shattering phenomenon, no emphasis on cultivation realm. If it can be described in 3 words, it would be dispirited. In Ning City, countless streets erupted into extremely excited cheers. Huzhu at peace, Zhang Yuren gently uttered 5 words. Lin Ziasu smiled slightly. A wisp of sound drilled into his ear. Such a Huzhu, handed over to you, you must not let the 170 million people of Huzhu down. Zhang Yuan trembled all over, looking at him with incredulous eyes. Mr. Su, what do you mean by this? Brother Zhang, you have never lacked the integrity of a scholar, but do you know, scholars should also have epic ambitions for the great Tao, setting the heart for the world, setting the destiny for the people, inheriting the lost learning of past sages, and bringing peace to all ages. The times have chosen you. You should move forward unwaveringly. Zhang Yuan stared at him in a daze. His heart was stirred into a raging storm. Setting the heart for the heavens and earth, setting the destiny for the people, inheriting the lost learning of past sages, bringing peace to all ages. This is a revolutionary ambition he had never heard before. This is a literary Tao he had never touched. Such words, each glittering and precious, surpassed tenfold, hundredfold the classics he had read in the past. Yet which sacred classic do they come from? If this alone stirred his literary fervor, the following words, and the meaning in his previous words, also caused another surge in Zhang Yuan. What does it mean, Huzhu handed over to you? What does it mean, the times have chosen you? No, this is impossible. He is currently just a fourth-rank official, far from governing Huzhu. His greatest lifelong wish was to be the head of a prefecture, leading its people to reform according to his own ideas, never thinking about governing a whole state. How could such a great fortune be possible? Lin Ziasu's words were just enough. Seeing Zhang Yuan fall into deep thought, he smiled gently, moved his feet, and was about to leave this high platform. Suddenly, a wisp of Gyukin music like flowing water crossed the Zhu River, passed through Ning City, and threw the misty rain across the sky. As this Gyukin sound crossed, the whole heaven and earth seemed to fall silent in an instant. Lin Ziasu's just turning footsteps halted, his gaze directed towards a building 300 meters away. This building was very graceful, appearing to be constructed casually, but from this angle, it looked like a giant Gyukin. The white stone paths between the buildings resembled Gyukin strings, and upon closer look, hidden within was the number of the 9 palaces. He had once noticed it before. This was Xianian Pavilion, one of the 3 great pavilions of Ning City. His gaze was directed at the rooftop. At the rooftop was a pavilion, the pavilion's window gauze fluttering. A woman with a light gauze covering her face sat beneath the window, seemingly just unintentionally plucking the Gyukin on her knee. As if feeling Lin Ziasu's gaze, this woman slowly looked up, her eyes clear and pure as water, connecting with his across the 300 meters of space. Though her face was covered with light gauze. But this light gauze did not cover anything through it. Lin Ziasu saw a face indescribable in words. Saying this face is indescribable because it contained 2 elements that could not naturally merge. Her eyes like ancient glaciers, clean, cold, as if never tainted by worldly dust. Her cheeks full of charm, like the most brilliant flower in the world of mortals. Mr. Su is indeed full of charm in Ning City today, the woman said. This little girl is quite impressed. How about I offer a poem to the gentleman? Her voice soft and graceful. But though 300 meters away, it was as if she spoke by Lin Ziasu's ear. This was not transmitting sound through divine sense. Her words blended into the autumn rain, the whole city could hear. Everyone was deeply moved. Someone in a tavern said, the person on the top floor of Xianian Pavilion, how many literary people send poems every day, yet cannot meet her. Today she actually took the initiative to offer a poem to Mr. Su. This is truly, for one who stands out, even a beauty would be drawn to him. Lin Ziasu smiled faintly. Miss, may I know your surname? Han, came the one-word reply. Is it Han from Hanyu Valley? Lin Ziasu asked. Indeed it is, Miss Han replied. Chapter 792, Chapter 680. If the north wind knows its place, it shall not cross West Moon Lake. Zhang Yuan's heart suddenly jumped, and he whispered to Lin Ziasu, I know this woman. She is the daughter of the valley master of Hanyu Valley, named Han Yan. Her cultivation talent is incredibly legendary, noticed by the heavenly capital, and now ranks second among the 12 holy daughters of the heavenly capital. Even Zhang Yuan knows her identity details. Who in the cultivation path within Ning City wouldn't know? Immediately, there was a flurry of discussion in the tavern. What is Han Yan doing? She said she was captivated by Mr. Su's elegance and wanted to give him a poem. Is that possible? Mr. Su is visiting Jiangnan currently in Huzhu. Next, it's either Z State or Dingzhu. If he chooses Z State, Hanyu Valley will be the first in line. Could she really be welcoming Mr. Su? On the high stage, Lin Zaiasu gently raised his hand, softly shaking a folded fan in his palm. The approaching winds and rain seemed to add some colors, yet his voice remained calm. Miss Han wishes to gift me a poem. Yes. Please proceed, said Lin Zaiasu. Han Yan stepped forward, holding a zither atop Xianian pavilion. With delicate rain and mist, she appeared like a blooming flower. Her gaze fell this way, and she sang melodiously. Fallen flowers, one stands alone, Jiangnan's rains bewilder on their own. If the north wind has sense, it won't pass West Moon Lake. A poem of 20 words. It seemed to construct a beautiful earthly painting. This beauty stood in the rain, resembling a fairy within it. Inside the tavern, countless scholars were moved by this stance. Fallen flowers, one stands alone, Jiangnan's rains bewilder on their own. What a marvelous line. Her image, isn't it exactly a vivid portrayal of these 10 words? People say Han Yan's cultivation talent is unparalleled, but who knew she possessed such literary elegance? A scholar lamented. Indeed, such superb lines, how many literati could craft them? Just the other day, I sent her a poem, now feeling ashamed, realizing my poem pales in comparison to hers vastly. For a moment, the tavern scholars all felt deeply embarrassed. However, someone suddenly spoke. Gentlemen, are you only focusing on the first 2 lines? The latter 2 lines are the essence of the poem. What do you mean? If the north wind has sense, it won't pass West Moon Lake, this person said. She's warning Mr. Su not to cross west of Moon Lake, not to disturb her Hanyu Valley. What? The entire tavern was shaken. On the high platform, Zhang Yuren's heart too skipped a beat. This woman is openly challenging you, Mr. Su. Being the champion scholar, he could hear Han Yan's true intention in her poem. Warning Lin Zaiasu not to proceed further. For her Hanyu Valley lies on his path ahead. If he chooses Z State, it might even be the first stop. Lin Zaiasu swung his folded fan. Miss Han's literary talent is unparalleled. How about I return a poem to you? Han Yan calmly replied, please, sir. Lin Zaiasu began. Grass doesn't resent its springtime glory, wood doesn't complain its autumn-time fall. Who whips the 4 seasons to drive? The rise and fall of all things are natural. As the poem ended, the people in the tavern hadn't yet fully comprehended. Zhang Yuren clapped in praise. Mr. Su's poem encapsulates the natural law, informing the world not to ignore the changing landscape of heaven and earth, not to act foolishly or ignorantly. Utter brilliance. I've never seen its like in my life. This is the vision of the champion scholar. Only he was the first to appreciate the poem's uniqueness. Han Yan isn't an ordinary person. Naturally, she too understood. As soon as she understood, she was shocked, for the world hadn't spread his literary prowess. Yet how could a spontaneous poem be so exquisite, accurately counteracting her poetic intent, both swiftly and forcefully, purely based on poetic skill, even surpassing her own by far? Han Yan took a deep breath. Mr. Su, so resolute, aren't you afraid that the autumn rains on your upcoming Jiangnan journey will transform into tearful flights? Haha, Lin Zaiasu laughed up towards the sky. Since ancient times, autumn has been sad and lonely. I say autumn days surpass spring mornings. A crane in the clear sky rises through clouds, bringing my poetic sentiments to azure heights. The entire city was instantly astonished. Earlier, Lin Zaiasu's poem, while encapsulating natural law and rich in meaning, left most unable to grasp its brilliance. However, his impromptu response to Han Yan's poem was instantly comprehensible even to those with limited understanding of poetry. Since ancient times, autumn has been sad and lonely. I say autumn days surpass spring mornings. What an optimistic mindset. A crane in the clear sky rises through clouds, bringing my poetic sentiments to azure heights. How majestic is this? This is the strongest response to Han Yan's warning. You say my upcoming journey in Jiangnan will be plagued with autumn rain. I tell you that's merely a tragedy for ordinary people. On me, it doesn't exist. I am that crane rising through the clouds in the clear sky. My heroic spirit reaches the 9 heavens. Han Yan stood atop Xianian pavilion at this moment, finally losing her superior fairy-like composure. She seemed to have been knocked down to earth. Lin Zaiasu lifted his form, landing in front of Fu Fu. Fu Fu, no need to disguise. All right. Fu Fu's form flickered, transforming from a green-robed scholar to breathtaking beauty, incomparably spirited and exquisitely beautiful. Lin Asu held her hand, ascending into the sky, with one leap landing atop a tavern roof. In the midst of misty rains, a pair resembling golden children and jade youths stunned this autumn. At this moment within everyone's view, not only were Lin Asu the handsome man added with Han Yan the fairy, but also another fairy was introduced. This fairy's beauty was no less than Han Yan. If today Moonlake had spring colors, Han Yan dominated 80%. But Lin Asu traversed the skies with Fu Fu, directly splitting Han Yan's dominating 80% of spring colors. Zhang Yuren stood alone on the high stage, gazing at the sky for a long time, murmuring, "A crane in the clear sky rises through clouds, bringing my poetic sentiments to azure heights, enchanted in that moment, unsure of the return path." Chapter 793. Chapter 680. If the north wind knows its place, it's no more than West Moon Lake /2. As the champion scholar, he felt the shock of the literary path for the first time. Han Yan descended from the rooftop, quietly watching the two of them return to the restaurant, as the voice of a maid reached her ears. Disregarding his status as an official, flaunting a female companion like that, he truly is someone with no qualms. Is it just to show his lack of concern? Han Yan's delicate eyebrows furrowed. Could there be other intentions? For example, are you trying to suppress me in this way? You suppressed my poetry, my momentum, and even my heavenly immortal demeanor. Are you having your companion remove her disguise technique to suppress me because you can't suppress me yourself? Su Lin, just you wait. I absolutely won't lose to you in any aspect. Han Yan didn't realize that after she had these thoughts, there was a faint shadow in her Tao realm, no longer flawless and transparent. In the guest room of the restaurant, Fu Fu jumped directly under Lin Asu's neck. "Brother Su, why did you want me to reveal my true face?" This was a question. However, Fu Fu already had an answer in her heart. A very happy answer. That is, Brother Su already truly regarded her as his wife. Daring to hold her hand into the room in such a sensational situation, and while wearing official robes at that, this was a true, official announcement. However, Lin Asu's response was completely unexpected for her. I had you reveal your true face to crush Han Yan, to explicitly tell her that everything she has is nothing in front of this handsome guy. Even her most proud demeanor as a fairy, my dear Fu Fu, doesn't lose to her one bit. Fu Fu happily leaped up, bounced up, her full chest pressing joyously against Lin Asu's chest. She was truly happy. In her brother's eyes, she was someone who could crush the Tiandu Saintess. Who wouldn't be happy about that? However, she didn't know the deeper logic behind this. In front of Han Yan, Lin Asu didn't give an inch, crushing with poetry, crushing with momentum, and finally using Fu Fu's beauty. Why? If it was just youthful impetuosity, that's too narrow-minded. This is strategy. A strategy aimed at the realm of mastery. Others might not know, but Lin Asu knew. Han Yan was already holding the way. Among the 12 saintesses of Tiandu, the top 5 are holding the way, something recorded in the Heart Pavilion data. Today, seeing Han Yan in person, others would see her exceptional fairy-like demeanor amidst the autumn rain, while Lin Asu faintly captured something extremely profound in this domain. He could now easily kill those at the Enlightenment realm, including the peak of Enlightenment realm. His goal had never stopped at Enlightenment realm. He had already seen the level above it, holding. Going to Jiangnan, there's more than just Huzhu. On Jiangnan land, there are also the 8 great sects. Hanyu Valley is one, as is the nearby Luohua Temple. A battle with the holding realm is about to unfold. The second saintess, who hails from Hanyu Valley but shines brightly in Tiandu, was no ordinary holder. Tiandu's holder, how could it be an ordinary holder? Being a holder in Tiandu is nowhere near comparable to reaching that level through time and resources in other sects. What is terrifying is never just the holder, but the sect behind this holder. Tiandu's cultivation techniques are extremely special. They are the closest to immortal. Exquisite and unfathomable. However, Lin Asu had specifically studied and found a drawback in Tiandu that wasn't quite a drawback. That is, their cultivation techniques seem to greatly pursue purity. Regarding the state of mind, Tiandu has almost perverse strictness. For instance, Tiandu's 9th saintess, Hong Shanling, once used the heavenly capital immortal mirror technique to spy on him, and he merely played a small trick with Fu Fu, easily breaking her immortal realm technique with a drop of water. What does this show? As long as her state of mind is disturbed, her combat power will significantly decrease. Hong Shanling, this Princess Shansheng, was not on his mind at the moment, but this newly emerged Han Yan became a potential great enemy in his journey to Jiangnan. What should he do about Han Yan? A different approach, yet aiming at the same goal. He wanted to disrupt Han Yan's state of mind. How to disturb it? By shattering everything she prides herself on. Make her repeatedly doubt her life. With such doubts, with this lack of self-confidence, she would fall from a pure and flawless immortal realm to the mundane, and her holding the way would have flaws. Han Yan's appearance today hit a gap in his thinking. However, it didn't prevent this prodigy of wisdom from instantaneously tailoring a strategy for her. In fact, this is where Lin Ziasu's true strength lies. He excels at planning. His strategies in that world even wowed Qianlong's top strategist Bai Shui. However, the strategy also had aftereffects. That was making the little fox in his arms too excited. When she gets excited, you have to kiss her, and if you don't, she'll pout. Kissing her makes the blood heat up. It's an uncontrollable natural reaction. When the blood heats up, the little fox asks for new things, whispering in your ear, calling you Brother Sue, telling you to touch. Can you hold back? And once you touch, you can't just touch the tail. You'll inevitably deviate a little, reach the front. Thus, the little fox's thoughts evolved again. Brother Sue, I think the ninth spiritual tale might as well be forgotten. After all these thousands of years, Kinkyu hasn't produced. No way, you already have 8 tails, just one step away from the last step. Chapter 794, Chapter 680. If the north wind knows its place, it shall not cross West Moon Lake /3. But Brother Sue, how about just rubbing without going in? Oh my God, rubbing without going in. This is something that every couple in love probably says, but in the end, is there really anyone who just rubs and doesn't go in? Not saying there isn't a single one, but it must be quite rare. At least Lin Ziasu is very self-aware. He is not someone who can hold it in. As for the little foo-foo in his arms, she is even more unlikely. This girl is really lazy. Her biggest expectation for the 9-tailed heavenly fox physique is to succeed sooner and do things that don't get her anywhere sooner. She doesn't care whether she has the heavenly fox physique or not. If it really came to the point of rubbing, she definitely wouldn't call it off. Maybe she would even create conditions, coax and deceive with encouragement. Encountering such an unambitious girl, it's really enough. Lin Ziasu can only shoulder the heavy burden alone, always maintaining that clarity. This entire afternoon, both were quite tormented. Fortunately, by the time the sunset came, Lin Ziasu was relieved. Because a voice came from outside, "Sir, we're back." Fu jumped up, habitually transforming into the green-robed scholar, but as soon as her figure changed, she suddenly realized that she didn't need to disguise anymore. She opened the door gracefully and came out. Zhang Tao immediately looked down, resolutely not peeking into the room, reporting, "Sir, the matters on the other side of Dongshan Prefecture have all been carried out according to your instructions." Dongshan Prefecture is the territory controlled by the Duan Giant sect. Lin Ziasu nodded, "Very good." The amount of desert gold confiscated within the Duan Giant sect is quite substantial, about 8 million. Should subordinates send it back to Beijing overnight? Not this time, Lin Ziasu said. In a few days, someone from Beijing might come over, let them take it back then. There's no need for you to deliver it specially. In a few days, someone from Beijing is coming over. This involves the travel schedule of Shangyuan, so Zhang Tao didn't need to ask more. Next, arrange 100 people to go to the prefectural magistrate mansion, waiting for the remaining 6 sects to send over the related individuals involved in the Ministry of Justice's backlog of cases. In 3 days, have people send them back to the Ministry of Justice in one go. Yes, Zhang Tao was thrilled. He had just returned and heard the most explosive news in the city. Mr. Su had set the rules for the 6 major sects. The 200-plus individuals from the 6 sects involved in the Ministry of Justice's backlog of cases would all be delivered within 3 days, and all the territory seized by these 6 sects would be returned to their original owners, and in the absence of an original owner, they would be handed over to the local government. Ning City had already started to take action. At least 100 shops have already been handed over. They made a surprise attack today, taking down Duan Giant sect, but the adults didn't go personally. Yet they took down one sect with so many people. While the adults sat in the guest room, sipping tea and handling all 6 sects. The adults are really impressive. Lin Zaiasu swept his gaze. Where is junior brother Gu? He directly went to the Xianian pavilion with 100 desert golds. Zhang Tao grinned. Lin Zaiasu also laughed. I knew this guy has been quite well behaved around me these days. Turns out he was broke, huh? Zhang Tao said, Mr. Gu's money was all seized when he was imprisoned. For a master like him, obtaining money should be as easy as lifting a hand. Yet with no money, he refrains from taking things without reason, showing the noble conduct of a prestigious family. Subordinate really admires him. Yes, everyone must admit this. In the Jianghu, being able to get money anytime, this isn't a skill. Masters can do it. Free eating and free benefits aren't skills either. Many people can manage that. But having abilities comparable to holding the way, feeling itchy in a world full of temptations, and being penniless, yet remaining honest, can only be described as the style of a noble orthodox. Gu Suixin, his name means following his heart, and he seems to act accordingly. However, in daily life, he does not follow his heart. At least he goes to the music workshop when he has money, and is honest when he doesn't, showing great principles in this regard. Zhang Tao praised Gu Suixin, but he was also flattering Mr. Su. Because Mr. Su also comes from an ancient sect. Unfortunately, Mr. Su's thoughts drifted a bit. Quang Lang. Here. Come take a walk with me. Yes. As nightfall just began, Lin Zaiasu and Quang Lang disappeared. Zhang Tao looked at their backs, and the respect in his heart for the adults came wave after wave. The adults are really diligent. Every day is like this, working non-stop, just finished one major event without taking a moment's rest, starting the next journey with Quang Lang. How can such an adult not earn utmost respect from people? However, if he knew what the adult was up to, he might feel a whirlwind of mixed emotions, a surge of what the F and %K. This adult, as night fell deeper, appeared in a valley with Quang Lang where there was a cave. Sir, Quang Lang seemed to have guessed something. Her face blushed a bit. Come on, take off the armor. Let's go lie in the cave. Quang Lang's face turned completely red, and she took off the armor, her figure shrinking accordingly. Thousands of pounds of armor piled at the entrance, like a steel gate. And she was held by Lin Zaiasu. Sir, let me wash up, Quang Lang whispered. No need. Lin Zaiasu placed her on a large stone behind. This time, Quang Lang finally closed her eyes, her lips slightly parted, and she began to have the familiar breathing that Lin Zaiasu was accustomed to. Along with other reactions he was also familiar with. As proved, some things don't need teaching. Once inside the door, you naturally know how to make it more comfortable. Everything normalized, and the comfort level just kept getting higher. About an hour later, the storm abated. Quang Lang gently breathed a sigh of relief. Sir, you were really eager today. Could he not be eager? Chapter 795. Chapter 680. If the north wind knows its place, it shall not cross West Moon Lake /4. If you don't come back soon, I'll go insane. You have no idea how tormenting that little fox is. However, of course, this couldn't be said aloud. Lin Zaiasu could only coax, I miss you. These 3 words made Quang Lang's heart, no matter how wild, turn into noodles at this moment, and he gently embraced him. My lord, don't be like this. If you want, I can give it to you any time, but you don't have to be so good to me. Lin Zaiasu quietly looked at her, feeling a wave of emotion inside. Being good to her actually had a reason. The reason wasn't frivolous at all, it was extremely serious. Think about it, even the heavenly Tao was involved, how could it not be serious? However, she didn't know the seriousness of the reason. She smoothly cooperated with his entire plan. Not just last night, but also today. But she was not like modern women who, once in such a relationship, would form a fixed format. Since we're like this now, fine, I'll set the rules. She didn't set any random rules. Her only rule was, if you want, I'll give you. You don't have to be so good to me. Quang Lang slowly opened his eyes, quietly looking at him. My lord, how should we proceed with the Jiangnan journey? She was somewhat afraid to look into his eyes, fearing she might lose herself in them and forget who she was. Quickly returned to the proper topic. So what's next? Lin Zaiasu said, the matter in Huzhu has been resolved. In 3 days we will begin the most difficult part of our journey to Jiangnan. Finally facing the sect leader, right? Yes. You've chosen Hanyu Valley as the first target. No. The first target is Luohua Temple. Quang Lang was taken aback. Luohua Temple. You're surprised? Quang Lang took a deep breath. I am indeed a bit surprised. In my understanding, Luohua Temple is the sect with the worst perception of you. I thought you would initially bypass them, and when the time is right, force them into submission. When facing the sect leader, it can't be the previous method because our previous heavenly yin-yang chaos array can't deal with the sect leader. Quang Lang asked, then how to deal with it? I chose Luohua Temple because of one person. Who? Lin Asu said, a woman who became a nun at Luohua Temple. Her secular name is Du Yuexin, and she comes from the reincarnation sect 3,000 years ago. Du Yuexin. Reincarnation sect. Quang Lang's eyes became a bit confused. Husband. Oh no, my lord. One title, she completely mixed it up. Calling him husband was because, at the moment, what they were doing was what a husband and wife do. After she gave herself to him, whenever she thought of him, she naturally saw him as a husband. But she blurted it out subconsciously and immediately realized it was inappropriate. What to change? When we're together, you can call me husband. Only when carrying out orders publicly, call me my lord. Quang Lang shook her head. I can't, I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'll get used to it, and what if I accidentally say it out loud? I'd better call you my lord. My lord, I haven't heard of this Du Yuexin, do you know her? I don't know her either, but I hope to get her help, and I believe she will be a great ally in my journey to Jiangnan. Quang Lang's thought process went wild for a moment. A person he doesn't know. A nun. Furthermore, a nun from a sect that harbors strong hostility toward him. He actually wants her help. Seriously, why would such a nun help you? Could it be that this cunning lord intends to conquer her? He might really succeed. Her man. Her lord is incredibly strong with women, even someone like her, who doesn't resemble a woman at all. After being with him for 2 nights, isn't she finding it harder to leave him? Isn't she willing to die for him? If he wants to make a move on that nun, he certainly can. Once he makes a move, I don't believe she wouldn't help him. My lord, I'm with you. You should conquer her tomorrow and make her utterly devoted to you, Quang Lang declared. What are you thinking? Lin Asu said. That nun was my older brother's beloved companion once. Quang Lang was completely caught off guard. Then my lord, I personally feel, it's not very optimistic. She's already become a nun, and according to you, it was thousands of years ago, so she must have completely let go of your brother. It's impossible for her to help because of your brother. That's possible too. If that's the case, we'll have to go with the second plan, targeting Hanyu Valley first. Lin Asu said, let's drop this topic, it's a rare opportunity, shall we go again? Chapter 796, Chapter 681, promoted to 3rd rank. That night Lin Asu lay on Quang Lang, his thoughts drifting far away. As for this position, it actually was quite inappropriate to speak of. The ground was uneven, with sharp stones and fragments everywhere, making it really unsuitable for sleeping. If he had to sleep, the most normal way would be for Lin Asu to lie down with some beautiful woman resting on his chest, using him as a cushion. With other women, this was always how Lin Asu did things. But when it came to being with Quang Lang, the one doing this was Quang Lang. Her forte was her toughness and durability. Lin Asu's thoughts flew back to the Kun Kang of days past, following that butterfly into the Jianghu journey of a certain elder brother. That elder brother, he preferred to call him a true elder brother. He was Gu Jian Yaochen. When traveling in the Jianghu, he was known as Jian Wuchen. Jian Wuchen's swordsmanship was extraordinary, his heart unstained, a light-clad white horse, free in the secular world. However, one day, he encountered a reincarnation saintess named Du Yuexin. Du Yuexin played music by the lake and danced under the moon, accompanying him through the longest romantic segment on his Jianghu journey, and silently cast a soft veil over his sword heart. He didn't want his sword heart to be veiled. He didn't want the carefree extravagance of his Jianghu path to deviate. He fled from her in a distance. However, on a moonlit night, under the faraway Sword Gate Pass, Du Yuexin caught up with him. That night marked a turning point in all the worldly roads, and they consummated their love. The next day, the rakish Jian Wuchen ran away again. This time, Du Yuexin traversed the Jianghu but couldn't find him, and in despair, she cut her hair to become a nun. This passage came from the mouth of today's Gu Jian Yaochen. Lin Asu felt his stained self. Entering this world, in the Heart Pavilion's archives, he saw things related to Du Yuxin, and her place of ordination was indeed Luohua Temple. He also saw images of Sword Gate Pass. That grand pass under the moonlight was infinitely desolate. It seemed innately clad in life and death separations. In the following 3 days, there were neither winds nor waves. Lin Zaiasu was perfecting his deep fusion process between his primordial spirit and all his cells, teasing Fu Fu, or more often, being teased by Fu Fu, each teasing leaving him utterly undone. Fu Fu willingly bore the brunt of this torment without complaints. The key issue was that this suffering wasn't fair since Lin Xiaopao had means to relieve himself, stepping out of his room, greeting Quang Lang, then heading to that familiar cave. Quang Lang's greatest advantage was fully manifested. No matter how much passion Lin had, she could absorb it all with her strength. Afterwards, she would just close her eyes, rest for half a shichen, and then return to her post invigorated, clad in her 1,000 jin heavy armor, her spirit entirely poised atop the flagship. Ning City and the 6 mansions beneath it were without any upheaval. The remaining 6 sects fulfilled their promises, having all associates of the long-standing unresolved cases related to the Ministry of Justice, be they outer disciples, inner sect disciples, saint heirs, or elders, all tied up and escorted to Ning City under the public eye, handing them over to the chief clerk of the Ministry of Justice to write off the cases. Properties amassed over 1,000 or even several thousands of years were all handed over, and the floating wealth was distributed among the populace of each mansion. In Ning City, every day countless citizens came to kneel outside the tavern where Lin Zaiasu stayed. In other provinces and prefectures of Jiangnan, although the rapid currents of change weren't visible at present, many things were quietly changing, the biggest being that almost every sect had become more restrained. Flagrant oppression that was usual was entirely ceased, and sect heavenly prides, who once rampaged across major cities, had become much more rational. Within the sects, all sect masters emerged from seclusion. Sect meetings were held every day. No one knew what these sects were conspiring. But one thing was clear. The Jiangnan cultivation path had truly been shaken. No sect could maintain a calm demeanor. On the 3rd day, after consecutive days of drizzling rain, the skies finally cleared. Looking at the autumn sky and refreshing moon lake, many literati began reciting. Among the most recited lines was, "A lone crane soars through the sky's clouds, inspiring a poetic spirit to the azure celestial heights." As soon as it cleared up, a beautiful rainbow stretched across the sky. At the rainbow's end, a golden bridge suddenly appeared. The rainbow connecting with the golden bridge formed such an incomparably beautiful sky painting, capturing everyone's attention. Atop the tavern, Lin Zaiasu, who was enjoying a shoulder massage from Fu Fu, snapped his eyes open. Beside him, Zhang Tao also suddenly turned his head. Zhang Tao had become much more tactful, usually never looking while Fu Fu massaged his lord's shoulders, but now, upon this glance, seeing the anomaly in the sky, an immense light glowed in his eyes. "My lord, someone from Beijing is here." Above the sky, auspicious clouds abounded. 3 dragon horses crossed the imperial road on the golden bridge and arrived. A eunuch stood before the dragon horses, loudly declaring, "The emperor has a decree. 4th-rank chief inspector Su Lin and 4th-rank record keeper Zhang Yuan received the decree." With a whoosh, a person flew up from the prefectural magistrate mansion. It was Zhang Yuan. Another flew up from the tavern rooftop. It was Lin Zaiasu. The 2 landed simultaneously on the sky-high golden bridge to receive the decree. By the emperor's mandate, 4th-rank chief inspector Su Lin has been overseeing Jiangnan, and his actions are closely aligned with my intentions. Thus, he is appointed as the standard 3rd-grade vice minister of the Supervision Institute, in charge of inspecting under heaven. 4th-rank record keeper Zhang Yuan of Huzhu has reorganized Huzhu orderly and with ability and virtue, thus is appointed as the standard 3rd-grade Huzhu governor, acting in the capacity of prefect. "Thank your majesty for his grace." Lin Zaiasu received the decree. Zhang Yuan was in total shock. For a moment his spirit soared beyond the heavens, but with a gentle nudge from Lin Zaiasu, he also hastily received the decree. Ning City erupted into overwhelming cheers. Chapter 797, Chapter 681, Promoted to 3rd rank Part 2. Mr. Su has been promoted. Lord Zhang has also been promoted to Huzhou Governor, acting prefect. Our dream has come true. We really have a magistrate who loves the people. The skies of Huzhu have cleared. Thank your majesty for the great favor. Thank your majesty for the great favor. The cheers rising and falling reached the state government, where Song Lifu, sitting on the prefect's high seat, slowly stood up. Facing the various prefectural officials below who were glancing at each other, he smiled slightly. Gentlemen, the appointment by His Majesty and the people's collective gratitude, what do you make of it? Everyone in the room, due to this light-hearted remark, broke into a sweat, especially the governor and the inspector. Logically, when a prefect commits an offense and is removed, there are only two ways for the new prefect to be appointed. One is for an assistant minister from above to be parachuted in, and the other is for someone to be selected from either the governor or the inspector. They harbored such fantasies too. But today, their fantasies were completely shattered. The small magistrate they had oppressed for a long time was promoted to Huzhou governor, acting prefect. In fact, everyone knew that this Huzhou governor was just transitional. He was essentially the prefect. The once heavily oppressed magistrate suddenly became their superior, and was so deeply trusted by the emperor. To the people, the skies over Huzhou might be clear, but to them, it's certainly thundering. Come, let's follow this officer to welcome our new governor. I can also use this opportunity for handover. Song Lifu stepped out of the government office, leading the prefectural officials to welcome Zhang Yuan. Meanwhile, Lin Ziasu also returned to the rooftop of the restaurant. Fu Fu, holding the newly acquired third-rank official uniform, was smiling widely. Her hands brushed over the fabric, almost wishing she could post on social media right then. My husband has changed clothes again and again. What rank is this uniform? I don't understand, seeking an explanation online. A golden light cut through the air, originating from the prefectural magistrate mansion, as two figures walked through the air. They were Song Lifu, the minister of the Ministry of Justice, and the new Huzhou governor, Zhang Yuan. Master Song, Lord Zhang, Lin Ziasu bowed slightly. Zhang Yuan hurried forward, bowing deeply. Greetings, Mr. Su. His bow was deeper than Lin Ziasu's. This bow indicated that he still recognized Lin Ziasu as his superior. In fact, this was illogical. Although the two of them held equivalent positions, Zhang Yuan as the governor wielded the power of a prefect, and he could essentially be considered a second-grade prefect. From this perspective, his position was indeed higher than Lin Ziasu's. But he completely disregarded that implicit superiority and still used the subordinate's etiquette when meeting Lin Ziasu. Song Lifu, with his extensive experience in officialdom, could certainly see this. He took a step forward. Mr. Su, I shall return to Beijing today, and I've come to bid farewell. Lin Ziasu smiled as well. Master Song is returning to the capital. I have prepared some gifts for you to take back to Beijing. Song Lifu laughed. The gifts from Mr. Su I have been receiving for 3 days, and now that I've collected them all, they were always intended to be taken back to the capital. In his understanding, the gifts naturally referred to the more than 200 suspects related to criminal cases within the Ministry of Justice. However, Lin Ziasu's gift was not that. With a wave of his hand, Zhang Tao lifted a chest. Song Lifu's body trembled slightly. What is this? The people's wealth and silver extorted by Duan Giant sect, among which are 8 million desert gold present silver. Master Song, take it to His Majesty. 8 million? Song Lifu was shocked. Yes, Duan Giant sect claimed to be the #1 sect in Huzhou. Indeed, their resources and heritage outstrip the other sects by far. Song Lifu gently waved his hand, and a guard from behind advanced to take it. Song Lifu sighed deeply. It seems the miracles Mr. Su created while going to Jiangnan continue. Lin Ziasu smiled. But for the upcoming journey, I fear such successes will not come with every step. Next, you face the sect leader. Song Lifu's expression turned serious. Mr. Su, do what you can. If you can't, stopping is also no shame. The template you set in the Jiangnan land with Huzhou has already exerted a huge influence, and echoes from other prefectures indicate that the sects have significantly restrained themselves. In fact, the goal of traveling to Jiangnan has already been accomplished. Lin Ziasu said, I understand Master Song's advice. But you still choose to move forward. Yes, tomorrow, I wish to enter Luoyue Temple. Song Lifu deeply bowed. This bow, on behalf of the 10 billion people of Jiangnan, thanks Mr. Su. Lin Ziasu returned the bow. I dare not accept. I will await good news in Beijing. Farewell. May you have a safe journey. Song Lifu rose into the air, returning to the capital. carrying away the last batch of connected accused from Huzhu related to the Ministry of Justice. He also took away the last harvest from Huzhu. This marked the perfect closure of Lin Zaiasu's first stop in Jiangnan. Throughout the whole state, 10 prefectures, 10 major sects, plus 1 heart pavilion were either eradicated or subdued, obtaining over 4 million desert gold in current silver. What concept is 4 million desert gold? It is equivalent to half of Dahuang country's annual treasury revenue. Within one state's sect purges, to harvest half a treasury's resources appears immensely glorious, but this path is not replicable. Why? Because the money given to His Majesty was only obtainable by eradicating sects. These sects had been extracting wealth for thousands of years, and he wiped it out at once. Can such a feat be infinitely replicated? Obviously it cannot. For the upcoming journey, he won't be able to bulldoze everything. He can only mainly rely on deterrence, and the ideal situation is if the sects accept his deterrence. Upon acceptance, sects might as well hand over all their civil industries to you. According to previous rules, these industries were then shared among the ex-owner and local people, and would not be forwarded to His Majesty. Lin Zaiasu is somewhat worried that His Majesty might be blinded by pots of desert gold and continually set his sights on money, so he gave Song Lifu an advance warning. Chapter 798, Chapter 681, Promotion to 3rd Rank 3. Fortunately, Song Lifu was not an impulsive person. He knew very well how difficult the upcoming actions were, and he even told Lin Zaiasu that if the road ahead was too difficult, one could desist. Even if the journey to Jiangnan ended here, it was already a significant achievement. Having clarified this bottom line, the following became much easier. If it works, go ahead. If not, withdraw. No pressure at all. Lin Zaiasu gently waved his hand. Lord Zhang, how about having a cup of tea? Please, Mr. Su. The two sat down by the tea table, and Lin Zaiasu lightly flicked his fingers, forming a water curtain. Zhang Yuan raised his teacup. 3 days ago, Mr. Su's words were filled with deeper meanings that I dared not believe at the time. Today, with the imperial edict delivered, I truly must thank you for your mentorship. Today, tea serves as wine, and I toast you a cup. Lin Zaiasu raised his teacup. Lord Zhang has been appointed as Huzhou governor, acting as the governor, yet I'm unsure how you intend to execute these powers. Once this topic was opened, the two of them talked extensively. Zhang Yuan was a former champion scholar, and he had been navigating the officialdom for many years. In theory, when it came to governance at the local level, he had an absolute say. However, once Lin Zaiasu spoke, he felt an overwhelming sense of pressure. Indeed, it was overwhelming. The issues he encountered in governance, which he pondered over for a decade in Shenkyu without resolution, were casually answered by Lin Zaiasu's few words. 7 consecutive issues. The former champion scholar rose to his feet. Mr. Su, I am genuinely eager to immediately pen a recommendation, strongly advocating for your majesty to appoint you as the Prime Minister of the Great Wilderness. A man of your astronomical and terrestrial talent in governance, if not fruitful within the Great Wilderness, would indeed be the greatest misfortune for our hundreds of billions of citizens. This statement, coming from the mouth of the former champion scholar and acting governor, represented the highest acknowledgement of Lin Zaiasu's governing prowess. Lin Zaiasu smiled. Such words let us not speak. If you agree with my views, then go forth and fully implement them in Huzhu. It can also be the greatest support to my journey in Jiangnan. Zhang Yuan pondered. I am stationed in the corner of Huzhu. Could I also assist you with the grand endeavor in Jiangnan? Lord Zhang needs to understand, when the people of Huzhu live and work in peace and contentment, this temptation can naturally be communicated to the rest of the Jiangnan provinces. A spontaneously formed popular aspiration for a better life can become the strongest public opinion, prompting other states, and thus forming a grand momentum towards Jiangnan, Lin Zaiasu said. Heaven and earth sweep together, and I am among them. Zhang Yuan slowly raised his head. My lord, I will go and do it now. The official matters were temporarily concluded. Zhang Tao finally had a chance to express his emotions. This Lord Zhang truly is fortunate. Originally, as a magistrate, he was sidelined and mingled in Shenkyu as a gentleman farmer. Meeting you, my lord, was indeed a rapid rise to power. Indeed, that's why when this Lord Prefect came to see our lord, he paid his respects as an inferior officer. Isn't that implying gratitude for the recognition? Said the vice captain. These two captains were gradually becoming familiar with Lin Zaiasu, knowing their lord wasn't pretentious and was easygoing, which is why they dared to speak directly. Lin Zaiasu smiled. Do you really think Lord Zhang was riding on my coattails? Perhaps he was implicated by me instead. You must be joking, my lord, Zhang Tao laughed. Lin Zaiasu shook his head. This is no joke. Without being burdened by me, he could have directly become a governor. Everyone was stunned, including Zhang Tao, including Fu Fu, and also Quang Lang, who was quietly excited beside Fu Fu, saying she shared a similar mindset because the two shared something in common. Fu Fu regarded Lin Zaiasu as her beloved, and Quang Lang did the same, seeing him as her beloved, at the very least as someone dear. How could one not be happy when one's lover swiftly rises through the official ranks? Zhang Tao widened his eyes. My lord, why do you say this? Lin Zaiasu gave a light smile. Think about it, must the promotion of his rank also include my promotion? Zhang Tao said, of course. Zhang Yuan was recommended by Lin Zaiasu. In terms of achievements, Lin Zaiasu was in control of the entire region, while Zhang Yuan was merely assigned a task by him. Regarding achievements, Zhang Yuan couldn't be compared to Lin Zaiasu. For promotions within the dynasty, there are certain regulations, and rewards and punishments must be clearly distinguished. When Zhang Yuan is promoted, Lin Zaiasu must also be promoted in tandem, otherwise, it would lack fairness and give others something to criticize. Yes, to uphold fairness and transparency on the official path, for however many ranks Lord Zhang advances, I too must advance by the same number. Originally, His Majesty intended to promote him directly to governor, but burdened by me, he couldn't be promoted that high, so he was appointed as standard third-grade Huzhu governor, acting with the authority of a governor. Zhang Tao scratched his head, seemingly understanding. My lord, he could have been promoted to second rank, so why couldn't you also be promoted directly to second rank? You, Lin Zaiasu lightly shook his head. I belong to the supervision system, and the director of supervision is second rank. If I were promoted to second rank, do you think I could still tour for inspections? Zhang Tao's eyes brightened. In the Great Wilderness's official system, the highest position for inspecting officials is the third-rank vice minister, the position you currently hold. If you were promoted to second rank, you could no longer conduct inspections around the realm. Indeed, being promoted to second rank would leave me with only two paths, being delegated to a state as governor or serving as a cabinet minister in Beijing. But I wouldn't be able to travel with the brothers on all four sides, Lin Zaiasu said. Now you can express your opinion, whether you hope for my promotion or not. Zhang Tao pondered for a long while. My lord, may I speak frankly? Speak. Chapter 799, Chapter 681, Official Promotion to Third Rank Part 4. I hope, my lord, that you will forever hold your current rank, leading us in battles across all lands. Haha, Lin Zaiasu laughed. Fu Fu also laughed with a snicker. Quang Lang's lips also curled into a smile. Zhang Tao laughed as well. With a swoosh, a figure fell onto the rooftop. It was Gu Suixin, who had been missing for 3 days. Gu Suixin looked around. What happened here? Did I miss something interesting? Zhang Tao laughed. You missed the scene of our lord's promotion. As if I was so secluded in Xianian Pavilion to miss such a grand occasion. Gu Suixin scoffed. So, what else happened? Another interesting event, Fu Fu said. Captain Zhang told his lord that his junior brother just got a bonus of 100 desert gold and rushed to the Xianian Pavilion. Damn it, Gu Suixin cursed. I knew he'd exaggerate things. Brother, I must clarify, I went to Xianian Pavilion not to indulge idly, but to gather military intelligence. Gather military intelligence? What did you find out? Zhang Tao asked. Gu Suixin replied. 3 days ago, the woman who challenged my brother face-to-face was Han Yan, the second saintess of the heavenly capital, with Tao cultivation. She uses music to enter the Tao. Her melody can annihilate an entire army. Everyone was silent. The background of Han Yan was well known to all. However, the depths of her cultivation were not known by many. In the realm of Tao mastery, using music to enter the Tao, a single melody can destroy an entire army. This was the military intelligence he gathered. Lin Zaiasu smiled gently. Junior brother, it's best that you're back. Accompany me on a trip. To Xianian Pavilion or Hanyu Valley. Neither, to Luohua Temple. Luohua Temple? Brother, are you really going to make a move on the nuns? Gu Suixin exclaimed. Lin Zaiasu glared at him. What nonsense, are you coming or not? If my brother commands, I can go anywhere. But little brother must remind brother, the group of nuns is really unsuitable for us brothers. These bald heads are quite unfriendly and hard to approach. Lin Zaiasu stepped into the air. He was gone. Gu Suixin followed. Zhang Tao followed as well. Fu Fu shouted loudly, Brother Su, I'm coming too. But Lin Zaiasu's voice echoed back. You stay, sit with Quang Lang and guard the army. Quang Lang's gaze fell. Let's go, let's return to the flagship. He grabbed Fu Fu's hand and soared into the sky. On Lin Zaiasu's side, the three crossed the Zhu River. In front of them was an ancient mountain gate. The mountain stood like a Buddha, tall and imposing. The mountain was full of peach trees, and at this time all the flowers had long since fallen, with sparse yellow leaves. This mountain on the side of the Zhu River is Chanjing Mountain. This place is Luohua Temple. Luohua refers to the falling peach blossoms. Isn't it also a metaphor for life? Daughters of Jianghu age in Jianghu, half a life of glory, half a life of sorrow. When sorrow comes, the world is not enough to heal her deep wounds. Only a mountain of solitude and a view of peach forests can. Lin Zaiasu and the others descended from the void, landing before the ancient temple amidst the falling yellow leaves. In front of the temple, an elderly nun was sweeping the endlessly falling leaves, her gaze slowly rising. Amitabha, who might the three benefactors be? The four words of Amitabha spread softly, and the bell of Luohua Temple rang without wind. Circles of Buddhist light rose from all directions, the yellow leaves underfoot scattered, together constructing the majesty of the Buddhist path. Brother Su, Luohua Temple is evidently prepared. A whisper from Gu Suixin reached Lin Zaiasu's ears. This is the outsider watching the spectacle, while the insider sees the subtleties. He knew very clearly that amidst these lights, there was a strong hostility. The Buddhist path would not likely harbor hostility towards ordinary incense guests. Only when they know the visitor is an enemy would such compassionate yet stern heavenly light of Buddhism emerge. Lin Zaiasu looked to the sky with a laugh. Slaughtering 1,000,000 soldiers in Jiangnan, the sword at my waist still reeks of blood. The old nun doesn't recognize a hero, still eagerly asking for names. His voice soared directly to the sky, transforming into a powerful wave, sweeping away the Buddhist lights in the heavens. Only 3 heroic figures remained. Chapter 800, Chapter 682, Holding the Ways Sect, Luohua Temple. In the deepest Buddhist hall, a sound came. Mr. Su, such a strong killing aura. As soon as the voice fell, yellow leaves flew to both sides, leaving a path leading to a secluded hall. The voice was exactly that of Master Maiu from that day. That position was also precisely the quiet room presided over by Luohua Temple. I thought on the day we met in Beijing, Master forgot me, but it turns out you hadn't forgotten, said Lin Zaiasu. On that day, Mr. Su was flaunting the face of Mr. Li. I remember Mr. Li. When have I ever seen Mr. Su? Said Master Maiu. If Mr. Su hadn't uttered the fierce words of killing the 100,000 soldiers of Jiangnan, I still couldn't imagine there was such a fierce official in the world. Buddhism speaks of formlessness, Master. You're caught in form, said Lin Zaiasu. Caught in form? Exactly. Master observes the good and evil of the world, seeing only the surface. In your eyes, killing the 100,000 soldiers of Jiangnan is ferocious, but the 1.7 billion people of Huzhu tell me that eradicating the evil sect of Jiangnan is a benevolent act. Buddhism does not speak of good and evil. Buddhism only values cause and effect. One day Mr. Su, after experiencing the Red Lotus Nirvana, will naturally understand that beneath the butcher's knife, cause and effect have long been determined. Buddhism only values cause and effect, well said. Lin Zaiasu said, Master, you are originally of great Buddhist power, but you choose to fall willingly, resulting in retribution, which is also cause and effect. In the depths of the Zen hall, it was silent. Yellow leaves drifted down. The entire mountain was silent. After a long time, Master Maiu's voice came. Why has Mr. Su come today? I have a list, totaling 79 people, crimes committed, clearly wanted by the Ministry of Justice. Please, Master, hand over these criminals to ensure cause and effect. Lin Zaiasu lightly waved his hand. A sheet of paper rose straight to the sky. True yuan was applied. The paper expanded, visible to the whole mountain. The 79 names, original affiliations, crimes committed, current Dharma names, identities, all were complete. The faces of a few old monks on the mountain subtly changed. These old monks were among the 79. Master Maioyu said indifferently, "I know of those listed, yet they have all confessed before Buddha, their sins have dissipated. Now they are no longer worldly criminals, but only devout followers reciting scriptures before Buddha. Why does Mr. Su insist on eradicating them completely? Why not let them end their years in this Buddhist Pure Land?" Lin Zaiasu said, "Does Master guarantee their sins are completely gone? The people on the list have been in this temple for at least 10 years, reciting scriptures daily. The light of sin has long faded. What remains is only the celestial light of Buddha Tao. Naturally, they are considered free of sin." "If so, fine." Lin Zaiasu extended his hand. A white paper appeared in his palm. "Since Master is willing to vouch for them, please write on this paper that if they entered the Luohua temple and their sins are not completely gone, any and all sins, Master Maioyu will bear them instead." As soon as the voice fell, this white paper gracefully rose, traveling along the path of yellow leaves. In the blink of an eye, the white paper traveled halfway. But suddenly, the paper paused in midair. Lin Zaiasu faintly smiled. "What? Has Master Maioyu suddenly realized their sins actually aren't cleared? Or is it that Master ultimately doesn't have the selflessness of Buddha feeding the eagle with flesh, unwilling to bear the sins for your disciples?" "Amitabha, Mr. Su actually understands the law of cause and effect." Master Maioyu's voice was very cold. For she suddenly discovered something. This white paper, it wasn't ordinary paper. It was inscribed with the law of cause and effect. If she dared to write any words on this paper, it would be seen as binding to cause and effect. As long as she wrote down what Lin Zaiasu had just said, if even one of those 79 had an issue, she would answer to cause and effect. How could she dare? Is the law of cause and effect that terrifying? Is it not something you often speak of in the Buddhist path? Aren't you confident that the Buddhist path can dissolve all worldly evil? Since these 79 people have been in the order for at least 10 years, and you claim their sins are already dissolved, what are you afraid of regarding cause and effect? Lin Zaiasu said. Or do even you know that the claim of sins dissolved is all self-deception? Amitabha, does Mr. Su not feel somewhat aggressive? An old nun's voice descended from the sky. As the voice fell, it was as if a true Buddha had descended. Before Lin Zaiasu and the others appeared another old nun. This nun appeared older than Master Maioyu. Her monk's robe was purple. "Sir, this is another holding state of Luohua Temple, Dharma name, Miao Shen." Zhang Tao's voice passed into Lin Zaiasu's ear. Lin Zaiasu smiled. "Does Master know why I can be so compelling?" "Because Sir relies on being a third-rank official of the court, is it not?" said Master Miao Shen. "Not so. I merely want to tell Master a basic principle. Anyone without a straight reason and strong spirit cannot be compelling to be compelling. There is only one situation, that is holding the right principle of heaven, with no selfishness. One's spirit naturally stands tall." Master Miao Shen coldly smiled. "You may have 1,000 reasons, but I have one set rule." "May I ask what set rule Master possesses?" "The pure land of Buddha is not to be disturbed, Amitabha." As the 4 words fell, 3 yellow leaves simultaneously flew up. The 3 yellow leaves from her hand transformed into 3 Buddhist hand seals, dividedly striking Lin Zaiasu, Gu Suixin, and Zhang Tao. Upon releasing the hand seal, all the celestial vibrations in the sky were instantly drained. Zhang Tao's face changed abruptly. With a swoosh, he transformed into a 1,000 Zhang magic body. With his cultivation at the peak of divine enlightenment, transforming into a 1,000 Zhang magic body, activating the strongest defense, theoretically, even if mountains toppled, he should be able to withstand it. However, this small yellow leaf formed into a Buddhist hand seal, suddenly expanded. Boom! Zhang Tao soared far away, falling heavily down Chanjing Mountain. Gu Suixin's folded fan suddenly unfolded, fanning out, initially in the posture of a Jiangnan dandy, but as the fan moved, a giant tortoise suddenly appeared in front of him, the black tortoise, one of the ancient 4 symbols. Chapter 801, Chapter 682, Holding the Way Sect, Luohua Temple 2. Black Tortoise, protection is indeed the first skill. Boom! The gigantic Buddhist hand seal met with the black tortoise. The ancient tree between him and Miao Shen turned into dust for no reason, including that yellow leaf. Gu Suixin did not retreat a single step, and the smile on his face did not diminish in the slightest. The complexion of all monks and nuns on the entire mountain top changed simultaneously. This person clearly had not broken into the realm of holding, yet he could reverse attack upward, solidly receiving a strike from the realm of holding without showing any sign of defeat. And over at Lin Zayasu's side, it was even stranger. Lin Zayasu did not draw his sword, nor did he make a move. As the Buddhist hand seal came with one palm, a small spatial rift suddenly appeared before Lin Zayasu's brow. The rift was extremely small, yet, when the Buddhist hand seal arrived, it became another world in front of the hand seal. The hand seal plunged headfirst into this rift, disappearing without a trace. The world-shaking tempest could not even lift Lin Zayasu's hair. Miao Yu was shocked. Miao Xin frowned. Space Law Tao Realm Flowering. Tao Realm Flowering is the second realm of rule comprehension. The first realm is to bear the rule Tao seed. The second realm is to produce the rule Tao flower. The third realm is to bear the rule Tao fruit. Whether it's the rule Tao seed or the rule Tao flower, it's something to be comprehended in the enlightenment realm. Once the rule Tao fruit is born, it signifies entry into the realm of Tao mastery. For those in the realm of Tao mastery under normal circumstances, they would not be moved by others, Tao realm flowering. However, it also depends on what kind of Tao flower it is. Lin Zayasu's Tao flower is a Tao flower of space law. How could law be comparable to rules? Therefore, the difficulty of a law flowering is 1,000 or 10,000 times harder than the flowering of general rules. Correspondingly, its power is also 1,000 or 10,000 times stronger. On the cultivation path, there's a very clear benchmark. The Tao flower of law is essentially equivalent to the Tao fruit of other rules. The move Lin Zayasu just performed, Sky Split, was smooth and flawless, with endless mystical mechanisms, clearly something that couldn't be achieved by a rule Tao seed. It must be a Tao flower. The law Tao flower can completely stand shoulder to shoulder with the Tao fruit of other rules. In other words, regardless of his own cultivation level, Lin Zayasu's Tao realm is equivalent to the realm of holding. In terms of his status on the cultivation path, in fact, he is at the level of holding. Even facing the realm of holding from Luohua Temple, he is by no means a junior. Not to mention, Master Miao Yu, Master Miao Shen, were both shocked at heart at this moment. Even Gu Suixin, who was traveling with Lin Zayasu, had his heart nearly jump out. Zhang Tao, who had just flown back from the sky, of course, had his heart beating even faster. He always thought this esteemed person only relied on a raise, only relied on official status, but just the 8 words from Master Miao Shen of the realm of Tao Mastery were enough to overturn everything. These 8 words are, Space Law Tao Realm Flowering. These 8 words alone announce that Mr. Su, as far as cultivation status is concerned, stands shoulder to shoulder with holding. In fact, Lin Zayasu himself had a fairly fast heartbeat too. In his body, he already has 6 series of laws, and apart from chaos, he has dabbled in the heavenly Tao 7 techniques. The 6 kinds of laws in his body exist in 3 different states. The first state is a shallow touch, unable to even form a Tao seed, that is, causality and reincarnation. The second state is the formation of a law Tao seed, such as time, yin-yang, and life. The third state is the space law. He has studied the space law the longest, integrating modern physics and frequently encountering fortuitous opportunities. It is the first law to form a Tao seed, and its application is the most widespread. While going to Jiangnan, he was messing around in the room with Fu Fu. Relying on his 6th sense, he felt someone peeping, maximizing the space law and forcibly opening the connection with the peeper. He might have overdone it, or maybe it was inevitable. Anyway, his space law Tao seed cracked. With this crack, he saw the tender flower inside this Tao seed. Strictly speaking, his space Tao seed is merely a prototype of flowering, not quite a Tao flower in full bloom, but merely a prototype easily crushed to strike from the realm of holding. This gave Lin Zayasu the greatest confidence. Master Miao Shen. Lin Zayasu gently brushed off the yellow leaf on his shoulder, which then shattered. He said calmly, "Don't think that just because Luohua Temple has 2 in the realm of holding, you can act as you please in front of me." The voice, although calm, landed heavily on Luohua Temple as a solid blow. Autumn wind rises, yellow leaves flutter. From the quiet room of the abbot behind Miao Shen, with the sound of Amitabha, Master Miao Yu stepped out. Under her feet, yellow leaves rolled up into patches of lotus leaves. Her initial steps were on foot. Reaching the late stage, the yellow leaves under her feet formed layers of lotus platforms. The lotus platforms floated past and appeared before Lin Zaiasu. Mr. Su, entering the realm of flowering and space law, indeed makes you a leading figure on the space-time path. But if you wish to conquer the 8 great sects of Jiangnan with just this level of cultivation, I'm afraid it's still lacking. Lin Zaiasu said, this level of cultivation is clearly not enough, but what if I add my array path? Heavenly yin-yang chaos array once emerged, annihilated 5 major sects, indeed showcasing great power in Jiangnan. But does the esteemed person truly believe it is effective against the sect leader? Miao Yu said. What does the holding of a sect leader mean? It holds the heavenly Tao rules. And arrays also rely on rules. When the heavenly Tao rules are disrupted, arrays will naturally dissipate. This is the key reason why arrays cannot counter the realm of holding. Lin Zaiasu said, Master's understanding of the heavenly yin-yang chaos array at my disposal is quite deep, yet what you know are just the exposed means, not the techniques I haven't yet revealed. Chapter 802, Chapter 682, Holding the Ways Sect, Luoyua Temple Part 3. Master Miao furrowed her brow slightly. For example, the circulation array. Circulation array. These 4 words shocked the entire Luoyua Temple. Array is divided into 3 realms, with profound sky being the most common. Heaven is extremely imaginative and not often seen. However, neither of these arrays is effective against the state of holding. There is only one type of array that is effective for everyone. That is the circulation system array. The circulation system, it defines its own circulation and sets its own heavenly mechanism within the array. Even the state of holding cannot disrupt its rules. For this reason, the circulation array system has always been something that the great powers of the holding state deeply fear. Why was the ancient array sect so heavily targeted in ancient times? Why did it draw universal opposition? It was because they held the circulation array system that could hunt the state of holding. Circulation array system. Master Miao smiled gently. The ancient array sect was once hailed as the true path of array for thousands of years, gathering all the array masters in one sect to form the circulation array, even requiring the entire sect's effort. Mr. Su claims he can do it on his own. You don't believe, Lin Zaiasu said. Amitabha, I really do not believe it. Do you want to try? With these 3 words, even though Master Miao had practiced diligently for thousands of years, her heart was in turmoil. She was momentarily speechless. Lin Zaiasu slowly lifted his gaze, sweeping across the entire mountain. Luoyua Temple might as well give me an answer. If you want to try, I'll really show you. However, don't blame me for speaking harshly. The circulation array system is still under experimentation with me and cannot be controlled freely. If it causes your sect to be annihilated, leaving nothing behind, it is truly not my intention. Silence enveloped the entire mountain. No one truly believed it from their hearts, because everyone knew the difficulty of the circulation array system. As Master Miao said, in ancient times, the ancient array sect was the strongest sect in the array path, gathering millions of array path geniuses in one sect, achieving the strongest performance in the array path. Yet to establish a circulation array, it really required the entire sect's power. The circulation arrays they successfully implemented were actually very few, and each caused enormous commotion. For example, the last masterpiece the ancient array sect left in this world was related to the circulation array. The circulation split array, using this great divine power, directly cut off Kun Kang, where the ancient array sect was located, from the ancient world. With one split, it was directly separated from this world. How terrifying! How unimaginable! That was a circulation array set up with the entire sect's power, the final legacy the array sect left in this land. 81 elders of the array sect sacrificed themselves for the array. In fact, it wasn't just 81. At least tens of thousands sacrificed themselves for the array. But the elders serving as the array were only 81. He, a mere official, wanted to set up a circulation array on his own. How could it be possible? Yet, looking over his journey to Jiangnan, despite any unimaginable deeds he did in the past, he seemed to have always pioneered something. Who dared to really bet? Because this gamble would be staking the lives of tens of thousands of monks and nuns at Luoyua Temple. As a great power in the state of holding who had dominated the world for thousands of years, Master Miao found herself, for the first time in her life, unable to back down. Clearly, he was just an Enlightenment realm official, with only 3,000 soldiers, yet he still cornered the prestigious sect of Luohua Temple. He had already revealed a space law comparable to the state of holding, meaning no one could easily kill him, including the great powers in the state of holding, at least not in a single blow. If he couldn't be killed in one blow, then everything had to return to within the game rules. And in the game rules, he threw out an astonishing circulation array system. No one believed it, but no one dared to gamble. This was the troublesome aspect of this Sioux thief. Suddenly, a voice came from the distant mountain. "Mr. Sioux, can you come to the back mountain for a meeting?" The voice was gentle and kind, like spring rain in Jiangnan. The voice also encompassed the world, covering the entire Luohua temple. Master Maiowu breathed a sigh of relief. "Amitabha, senior sister has emerged from seclusion." "Greetings, senior sister," Miao Shen also bowed. All monks and nuns of the temple simultaneously bowed towards the back mountain. A whisper from Zhang Tao reached Lin Ziasu's ear. "Sir, it is rumored that Luohua Temple was established by this master Myoxin. There are also rumors that, although this nun's cultivation is at the level of one vow, she comprehends the reincarnation law. To enter the state by comprehending the law makes her strength equivalent to the second vessel of other rules." Just as his voice reached, Gu Suixin's voice also followed. "Brother Su, this nun's cultivation is truly deep and unfathomable. Brother Su, please be cautious." Lin Ziasu smiled faintly. "It would be rude to decline. Junior brother Gu, Captain Zhang, please wait here." As soon as he finished speaking, he stepped into the air. With one step in the air, he landed on a bodhi tree. The next moment, the figure disappeared. Miao Yu and Miao Shen were both surprised. Sister Myoxin was known to be in the back mountain, something everyone at Luohua Temple was aware of, yet no one ever saw her, as it was common knowledge that this senior sister had long passed the stage of meeting the disciples and was truly a land of immortals. Only Miao Yu and Miao Shen knew otherwise. It wasn't so. Disciples couldn't see her because the entrance method was incorrect. The back mountain was a secret realm of array path created by the senior sister, with the entrance at the top of the bodhi tree. This Sioux thief did not take the usual back mountain path, but stepped accurately onto the entrance of the back mountain in the air and entered through the door. If the senior sister was assessing his array path expertise by this method, measuring his foundation in the array path, he had demonstrated his astonishing array path prowess on the spot with one step. Lin Ziasu stepped over the bodhi tree. Beneath his feet, the leaves gently quivered. Chapter 803, Chapter 682, Holding the Way Sect, Luohua Temple /4. Everything in front of him suddenly changed. It was no longer the Luohua Temple with yellow leaves swirling around, but a vast expanse of yellow sand. Amidst the endless yellow sand stood a majestic pass. No name was left on the gate of the pass. It was just a patch of mottled emptiness. However, Lin Ziasu's heartbeat inexplicably accelerated. This was Sword Gate Pass. He had seen the image of this mighty pass in the Heart Pavilion's records. The vast yellow sand below Sword Gate Pass. Unexpectedly, this was where Master Myoxin had secluded herself. If at first he was only 30% sure, now his certainty had inexplicably risen to 80%. Because for thousands of years, she had never forgotten Sword Gate Pass. She never truly considered Sword Gate as a place of heartbreak. This mighty pass was even the most important place in her heart, permanently fixed there. He had gambled correctly. He gambled that the former Du Yuixin, now Myoxin, still had a piece of memory puzzle about the ancient array sect in her heart. He gambled that by using the most powerful array path of the ancient array sect to intimidate Luohua Temple, causing the entire Luohua Temple to hesitate, this legendary founder would show up for a meeting. He guessed right. She truly appeared. Upon entering her exclusive secret realm, she even let him see the imprint in her heart, Sword Gate Pass. All of this indicated that she might have the potential to become his ally. But how exactly to proceed would depend on whether he could truly move her. Amidst the vast yellow sand, he walked steadily, neither hurried nor slow. As he walked, feeling the desolation and solitude conveyed by the yellow sand, Lin Ziasu seemed to feel the impulsiveness she had once felt traveling thousands of miles to the border pass, eager to meet her beloved. Yet upon stepping onto this mighty pass, gazing at the vast desolation, there was a sense of no one in the world can find this person. Lin Ziasu raised his hand, and a flute landed in his palm. As he played the flute, the melody was graceful and melodious. The light and unrestrained flute sound swept past Sword Gate Pass, seeming to bring a trace of Jiangnan's echo to this ancient and rarely visited border town. In the flute's melody were scenes of a youth breaking willow branches by the lakeside, sailing on the river, the breath of spring wind, and the thousand twists and turns of the mortal world. Everything was so joyful, so beautiful. However, the final lingering note was incomparably lonely, incomparably desolate. Perhaps it was precisely because of the previous joy and beauty that this lingering note's desolate feeling was more pronounced. The flute sound quieted, and the flute in Lin Ziasu's hand vanished into thin air, his head slowly lifting, facing this mighty pass, he recited. The snow clears, the horses return to the Hu sky, amid the moonlight, Qiang flutes play within the watchtower, borrow a question, where do the plum blossoms fall? The wind blows all night at Sword Gate Pass. On top of the majestic pass, within a quiet room. Outside the quiet room, a solitary plum tree. Flowers wafted by, and the remaining plum blossoms drifted. Inside the quiet room, a nun dressed in blue with a bald head. She slowly lifted her head. Young master's flute melody is serene and carefree. The poem's artistic mood is elegant, yet it seems an inappropriate manner for meeting a nun. Dare I ask why? Indeed, when a young master sees a female guest, performing poetic music is the standard protocol. Yet today was he meeting a female guest. It was the founder of Luohua Temple. It was a major sect under his military aim. How could it be a matter of romance? Lin Ziasu said, just because I did not regard the senior as the founder of Luohua Temple, but on behalf of an old acquaintance came to meet you. Meeting on behalf of an old acquaintance, may I dare ask which old acquaintance? Miao Xin asked. Lin Ziasu said, the sole descendant of the ancient Array sect who once called himself Jian Wuchen, now known as Gu Jian Yaochen. A light hum sounded. The mighty pass was filled with swirling dust, and a crack appeared on top of the pass. No echo, this light hum was the echo. No response, this crack was the response. Lin Ziasu stared at this crack. Although Senior still has that old acquaintance in mind, why did you not boldly inscribe Sword Gate Pass at this pass? Amitabha, affairs of 3,000 years past, how could they be in this nun's heart? Myoxin spoke a Buddhist chant, and the majestic pass under her feet turned to dust, replaced by a barren slope, a solitary plum, a quiet room, and an old nun. Chapter 804, Chapter 683, Mother-in-law Majesty. This is good, not only is Guan closed as nameless. Even the pass itself is gone. This is Miao Xin's stance, and Guan Wuming, so no one knows her inner perseverance. And someone has touched on her heart's affair, she might as well decisively erase this speck of dust. Senior, such impressive skill, the spirit platform of the Tao realm solidified for 3,000 years can be decided at will, Lin Ziasu praised. However, Senior, you are mistaken. That old friend who left you was not acting on his own will but was compelled by unavoidable hardships. He has embodied himself as an array, enduring 3,000 years of tribulations. His only regret is not explaining the cause when bidding farewell. If you no longer keep him in your heart, all the blood he sheds daily over these 3,000 years, his daily yearning for you, wouldn't it be chilling? What are you saying? With a whoosh, the door of the quiet room suddenly swung open. Lin Ziasu and the nun stood face to face. Lin Ziasu stared blankly at the nun in front of him. His heart suddenly accelerated, so much so that his initial speech evaporated in an instant. How could it be like this? What have I seen? Why do I feel she is incredibly familiar? Yes, these brows, this facial outline, they all are ingrained familiarity. You said he embodied himself as an array. Miao Xin's face was no longer as calm as usual. Lin Ziasu took a deep breath. Senior, I took an image of him, you will understand at a glance. He gently raised his hand, and a peculiar pair of glasses appeared in his hand. Under the dragon eye, the two realms mountain of another world was presented. Gu Jian Yaochen. His face was already weathered by dust and wind. His physical body had merged with the mountain. Miao Xin looked at this gallant swordsman she had once traveled 10,000 miles to meet, and saw the erosion of time rewritten all over, and her mood was no longer calm. Her expression finally no longer resembled that of a Buddhist monk. Lin Ziasu sighed softly. He once told me, during his adventures in the Jianghu, he took the path of the sword Dao without dust. If it weren't for you, he would have walked it without hesitation. But he met you. The night under the Sword Gate Pass was his only memory in life. He very much wanted to walk with you until the end of time, but fate dictated otherwise. The sect faced difficulties. The Array sect was forced out of the ancient world. His father died in battle, his siblings all perished, and he, as a son and a member of the Array sect as well, had to join the war. Join the war, join the war. Miao Zin's lips trembled gently. Why? Why didn't he tell me? Why? Because he knew you had the reincarnation sect behind you, and you were the one he loved most. In a man's world, facing life and death, one can only bear it himself. He only wanted to give you all his love, not burden you. Miao Zin slowly raised her head, her mind's self-built barrier shattered. Countless memories buried in dust all surged in her mind. These memories were so wonderful that even across 3,000 years of solitude, they were perfectly preserved. She hated her husband for starting and then abandoning her. She hated these beautiful memories for bringing her 3,000 years of desolate loneliness. Unable to resolve these feelings, she took the name of Luohua to establish this nunnery. Yet now, someone from afar brought her a message. Her husband had never betrayed her. His departure was only because the sect was in difficulty. He left her without a word as the most profound act of love from a man, bearing life and death risks alone, to not burden her, nor the reincarnation sect behind her. The Buddhist rules at this moment were far across the horizon. The love long sealed at this moment erupted like a volcano. Tell me, where is he? 7 words, endless impulse. He, of course, is in another world. Lin Zaiasu said, Senior, since I can find you, you naturally can see him again, but that world is currently in an unpredictable state of heavenly mechanism, and as a Taoist, you cannot set foot there. Do I care about that now? I shall see whether the heavenly Tao really wishes to destroy a rebellious Buddhist like me. As soon as her voice fell, her hair suddenly grew out of nothing. Her blue robe suddenly turned white. At this moment, she transformed into the reincarnation saintess from 3,000 years ago, Du Yuexin. This is her stance. Resolving misunderstandings with her husband made her a rebel of Buddhism. She was no longer a nun. She returned to being Du Yuexin. Because 3,000 years ago, entering Buddhism was itself a misunderstanding. Lin Zaiasu inwardly cursed. Before entering Luohua Temple, he had prepared a stomach full of drafts, wondering how to persuade her, yet none of those drafts were needed. With just a few words, she changed. Immediately, she wanted to pave the way to that world. When you run off, we're all in trouble, do you know? If you enter that world, and the heavenly Tao and mechanism haven't fully adjusted, you might be struck down by the heavenly Tao. Currently, that world is protected by spirits, and while the spirits cannot oppose you, Daxia country will turn into chaos due to your reckless intrusion. And what's left for me since you're going to Jiangnan? You've taken off for a passionate reunion with a lover not seen for 3,000 years. What about me? Originally, he had no good solutions, but upon seeing her true appearance, those seemingly engraved familiar outlines, Lin Zaiasu found a new breakthrough. Senior, may I boldly ask, do you have descendants? Du Yuexin's wildly passionate state of mind suddenly cooled down. He and I have a daughter. Because of the wind under Sword Gate Pass that day, I named her Fengjai. Chapter 805, Chapter 683, Mother-in-law Majesty. Fengjai. Lin Zaiasu's heart was pounding. His daughter's name was Fengjai. This name coincidentally matched the name that had surfaced in his mind. Du Yuexin's voice turned melancholic. Fengjai had just broken through to the Enlightenment realm and ventured into the Jianghu to find her father. I left her soul lamp behind, yet 10 years later, the soul lamp extinguished, and she passed away. It was after these experiences that I lost all attachment to the mortal world and truly entered the empty gate. As her voice fell, she seemed on the verge of collapse. Senior, please do not despair, Lin Zaiasu said. Your daughter might still be alive. No, I'm almost certain she is alive. Du Yuexin trembled all over. Why? Why are you so certain? Because I saw a girl with the reincarnation bloodline in Kunkang, the place where Senior Gu Jian is. Her name was Fengjai. She admitted she was once a skeleton, saved by the master of Shenghua Valley using the wonderful technique, and she referred to me as a fellow disciple. Upon seeing you, Senior, I felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity, as your appearance is almost identical to hers. This was the truth. After her appearance normalized, Fengjai wore a mask most of the time. The only exception was the day she intended to forcibly open the reincarnation gate. With her cultivation, Opening the reincarnation gate was a sure way to enter the cycle of reincarnation, never to return. To allow Lin Zaiasu to find her in the next reincarnation road, she took off the mask she never wanted to remove and gave him a fleeting glance. On that face, the two reincarnation seals had already flown away. She was extraordinarily beautiful and flawless. Lin Zaiasu remembered every contour of that face vividly. Now Du Yuexin's face in front of him was almost a perfect match. This was the likeness of mother and daughter in genetics, though many mothers and daughters do not resemble each other this closely. They both share the reincarnation bloodline, perhaps with an invisible hand in the cycle subtly correcting everything on their faces. Du Yuexin said, do you have her token? A token? Yes, Lin Zaiasu said. I have a drop of her blood, senior, you might want to examine it. A drop of blood, quick, let me see it. Du Yuexin was so excited. With a movement of Lin Zaiasu's finger, the drop of blood from Feng Jai appeared at his fingertip. As soon as Du Yuexin touched this drop of blood, her entire demeanor changed. It's her. It really is her. She found where her father was, but before meeting him, she was poisoned, causing the extinguishing of the soul lamp. I saw the soul lamp go out but could not see her reincarnate and be reborn. Lin Zaiasu was overjoyed. Truly overjoyed. Feng Jai had told him many times she did not remember her origins. Now, isn't everything clear? In some stories, logic is necessary. Feng Jai appeared in Kun Kang, not by coincidence. She was originally searching for her father, and indeed, she found the closest place to him but met with misfortune. If she did not bear the reincarnation bloodline, her story would have ended there, but she did. She was reborn. After her rebirth, she lost her memory, forgetting her quest to find her father. And her father, Gu Jian Yaochen, never even considered that the single night under Sword Gate Pass would have resulted in a daughter, but he felt a small pang of guilt, sensing Feng Jai's reincarnation bloodline. With the intent to repay the reincarnation sect, he took her and Feng Jai to the Two Realms Mountain, imparting to Feng Jai the sword move her mother was most skilled in, other shore flower. If Feng Jai had not worn a mask, with a face almost identical to her mother's, Gu Jian Yaochen surely would have realized something. However, at that time, Feng Jai, with a youthful heart, feared that the reincarnation seal on her face would ruin her image in this young master's eyes, and guarded her mask more diligently than her belt, leading Gu Jian Yaochen to miss recognizing his daughter right in front of him. This is the impermanence of the world. Suddenly, Du Yuexin's expression shifted dramatically. This drop of blood is her original blood, Mr. Su Yu. Her voice carried hesitation with a hint of disbelief. This drop of blood contained the true meaning of the reincarnation bloodline, and it was her daughter's original blood. What is original blood? Maiden's blood it is. A woman's maiden's blood in a man's hands. What does this signify? Lin Zaiasu inwardly cursed, thoughts racing and bowed. The son-in-law pays respects to mother-in-law. Du Yuexin's body trembled slightly. What she suspected had become reality. The man before her had indeed met her daughter and became her daughter's husband. This man was her son-in-law. Originally residing in solitude behind Luohua Temple, cultivated for thousands of years, entirely alone. She thought there was no one in the world worth her concern, no memories left to hold onto. Today, an openly hostile court official towards Luohua Temple arrives, telling her the heartless man who wronged her life never actually abandoned her. The daughter she bore for that heartless man never truly left her either. And this daughter found this official here to be her husband. In the blink of an eye, a person with no relatives had gained a husband, a daughter, and a son-in-law, ending up with descendants aplenty. Mr. Linner, Du Yuexin gently exhaled, where is Feng Jai now? She entered this world even earlier than I did. She went back to the reincarnation sect, Lin Zaiasu said. Mother-in-law, she hasn't yet formed her primordial spirit, so she cannot recall past life matters. She simply feels her reincarnation bloodline likely has some connection to the reincarnation sect, so she went there. She hopes to use the strength of the reincarnation sect to fight by my side and put an end to the great calamity of that world. Chapter 806, Chapter 683, Mother-in-law Majesty. Du Yuexin slowly lifted her gaze, casting it towards the distant south. Your goal and hers both aim to end the great tribulation of that world. It's not just her and me, but also my father-in-law. He entered the array with his life, unafraid of death and the dissipating of his way, all for protecting that world's way. Du Yuixin exhaled a long breath, murmuring, He too is protecting the way of that world. Lin Ziasu's voice was filled with emotion. My father-in-law roamed the Jianghu as a child in the name of the sword, claiming that his sword Dao was unstained. However, upon the passing of his loved ones, he realized that his heart was not unstained. His love for the predecessors, his recognition of the sect, and the familial bond thicker than water were all things upon his heart, and thus the dust upon it. So he restored his ancestral surname, taking solitary as his surname, and stained as his name. When he left Kunkang, he told me that his life's mission was to guard the great array forged by the flesh and blood of the 81 elders of the array sect, to prevent the ancient world from invading that world. He did not wish for the array sect's martyrdom for the way to be ultimately meaningless and worthless. He has his way, you have your way, and our daughter has her own way, Du Yuixin murmured. All family have the same way, mother-in-law, I came today to bring you onto this way. Lin Ziasu gently reached out his hand. Du Yuixin gently extended her hand, grasping his palm. One family, one way. Lin Ziasu said, Indeed, even if heaven and earth overturn, even if 3,000 years of destiny are fraught with peril, we have still traversed 3,000 years, not a single one is missing. Du Yuixin felt infinite relief and infinite emotion. Liner, what is your ultimate goal in going to Jiangnan this time? Before uncovering this series of secrets, she did not think that Mr. Su had any other intentions, merely currying favor with His Majesty to obtain high office. But now her impression naturally changed completely. He was a person from another world, with a grander goal of protecting the way. His perspective certainly should not just be about rising in rank and wealth. Mother-in-law, do you know that all the entrances to that world are concentrated within the Dahuang territory? Lin Ziasu said. Du Yuixin's eyes flickered. So, you wish to quickly establish your own power base, using the might of the great wilderness dynasty to sever its root on this side. Mother-in-law, your wisdom is remarkable. Du Yuixin said, going to Jiangnan is part of strengthening your own power. Yes, Lin Ziasu said. The matter of going to Jiangnan has allowed me to achieve a 4-level leap in position, but to influence the court's structure, and to truly use the power of the great wilderness dynasty for myself, merely a third-rank official, simply clearing Huzhu, is far from enough. I need to take the entire Jiangnan road. Du Yuixin's newly grown long hair gently fluttered. Though I just sit quietly in the back mountain, I have some knowledge of the outside world. Everyone is speculating what kind of ambition you, Mr. Su, truly possess, how far you can go in the officialdom, yet no one can imagine your venture to Jiangnan is essentially not about Jiangnan. Your real goal doesn't lie in Jiangnan Road. Mother-in-law, please stop calling me Liner, call me Sir instead. Su Lin is not my real name is Lin Ziasu. I am not from the ancient sect, I am an external Qianlong from another world, you can understand it as Hidden Dragon. Hidden Dragon, the person close to His Majesty the Emperor of that world, Du Yuixin said. No, in that world there is no emperor, only citizens. Our kingdom is citizen-based, and the rulers serve the people. There is actually such a world. Sir, describe your world to me in detail. Lin Ziasu spoke at length. That world also emerged from endless wars. Countless people sacrificed themselves, shedding blood, giving rise to the present prosperous age. Although this prosperity hasn't reached the ultimate goal where everyone leads a good life, being clothed and fed is achievable. Du Yuixin listened quietly, finally letting out a long sigh. Sir, the country you speak of is like an immortal world's realm. Even if not for my husband and daughter's sake, I wish to see with my own eyes this beautiful realm. Hence, I will aid you this time. Your son-in-law thanks you, mother-in-law. Tell me, what do you need old me to do? Outside under the bodhi tree. Yellow leaves fluttered down. Zhang Tao shrank his neck, feeling somewhat cold. As one at the peak of divine enlightenment, he shouldn't feel cold, yet today he did feel a bit chilly. Why? Because of the situation. The two figures in the state of holding before them treated them quite poorly, essentially not regarding them as of the empty gate. These two were nothing. The crucial one was Luohua Temple's founder, that mysterious Master Myoxin. Before Master Myoxin became a nun, she was with the reincarnation sect. She studied the reincarnation law. To enter the state of holding, through comprehending the law, how could an ordinary state of holding compare? The reincarnation law is too terrifying, too mysterious. If not careful, one might be cast back into reincarnation to start anew. The master entered the back mountain alone, directly approached this high sage of reincarnation. Could he return? In a short period of 2 hours, his mind was in turmoil. He couldn't think of any effective solution. Suddenly, the Bodhi tree moved. 2 figures appeared atop the Bodhi tree. One was Lin Zaiasu, his demeanor unchanged. The other was a woman in green clothes. The ordinary green attire on her seemed like a celestial Buddha in the vast Milky Way. Master Miao Yu and Master Miao Shen bowed in unison. Greetings to sister, the founder of the temple. Greetings to ancestor of the founder of the temple. Countless voices from the perimeter resonated. Chapter 807, Chapter 683, Mother-in-Law Part 4. Dong. The Buddha bell rings without the wind. 1 sound, 2 sounds, 3 sounds. Up to 9 sounds. 9 rings of the Buddha bell. This is the highest courtesy. Only the founding patriarch of a sect can enjoy such treatment. Miao Yu, Du Yuxin said calmly. According to what Mr. Su said, this temple has sheltered 79 people full of sin. Replying to senior sister, Miao Yu bowed. It's true that this temple has sheltered 79 disciples. However, they have now laid down their knives and sincerely turned to Buddhism. How can you be sure they have truly laid down their knives and not just temporarily kept them at their waists? How can you be sure they have sincerely turned to Buddhism and are not merely hiding in this temple to escape the law from outside, just waiting to rise again when the situation calms down? Miao Yu was shocked. Amitabha's senior sister. Du Yuxin slightly raised her hand. The Buddhist Pure Land cannot harbor filth. All 79 of these people must be expelled from this temple. It won't be too late for them to return once they've atoned for their sins. From now on, no one in this temple is allowed to use laying down the butcher's knife and achieving instant enlightenment as an excuse to cover up filth. Otherwise, Luoyua Temple is an accomplice in harming the world, and what right do we have to use the name of Buddha? Pa. Gu Suixin clapped his hands in praise. Master Myoxin's words are the most righteous Buddhist theory I've heard while traveling the Jianghu. The great power of the Buddhist path truly lives up to its reputation. I am in admiration. He bowed deeply. Zhang Tao also bowed deeply. Precisely so. The so-called laying down the butcher's knife and achieving instant enlightenment comes with a premise. You cannot owe a mountain of blood debts. You must repay the debts completely before you qualify to talk about laying them down. The law of the world, punishing evil and promoting good, is itself a repayment of debts, embodying the fairness of the heavenly Tao. Everyone exchanged glances, and the 79 people's faces turned ashen. If it were someone else saying these words, they would have a bellyful of rebuttals, but these words came from the founding patriarch of this temple. This temple was established by her. All rules are ultimately interpreted by her. If she wants to give it up, who can interfere? Miao Yu and Miao Shen straightened their waists slowly, still wanting to make one last effort. Du Yuxin met their eyes. There are 2 more things I must inform you. Amitabha, please instruct us, senior sister. The 2's hearts were slightly startled. Firstly, if you 2 had any dealings with Heart Tao in the past, it stops now. From today onwards, if there remains the slightest entanglement with Heart Tao, I will personally abolish your cultivation and clean house. The 2 nuns were greatly shocked and fell to their knees with a thump. Senior sister, do not listen to this man's nonsense. We have not had any improper dealings with Heart Tao. Lin Zaiasu said lightly. What is proper or improper varies with individuals. Perhaps you think it normal to have some dealings with Heart Tao for Luohua temples standing in the Jianghu. However, in my view, these dealings make you complicit with evil. This finishing blow made the 2 nuns' hearts jump wildly, as if their entanglement with Heart Tao became a settled conclusion. The focus of the debate shifted to what was proper or improper. Amitabha, Mr. Su. Du Yuxin raised her hand, directly interrupting. This matter is decided with one word. From this day forward, break all entanglements. Can you do it? We accept senior sister's directive. Master Miao Yu bowed deeply. Du Yuxin said, secondly, I heard that our Luohua temple still holds properties outside. Miao Yu, Miao Shen's heart skipped a beat. Senior sister, it is true that Luohua temple holds properties outside, but those properties were donated by followers with no coercion from the temple. Lin Zaiasu nodded slightly. I can testify that Luohua temple's 17 properties were indeed not coerced. You simply provided some assistance to Heart Tao, and in return, Heart Tao ensured that the sects under its control provided you with some returns. So, Your acquisition of these properties does not count as coercion, just as a clever take. Everyone's face is completely changed. This finishing move. Chapter 808, Chapter 684, Cold Moon in Kinkyu. Du Yuexin gazed up at the sky and sighed deeply. This place was originally for tranquil cultivation, yet after hundreds of years, it has devolved into a scene of unscrupulous plundering. How can a nunnery possess hundreds of thousands of acres of fertile land, a vast stretch of water, and extensively collect land taxes? Where is the original intent of the Buddhist path? I offer you two a choice: to abandon all these properties, mountains, forests, and waters, returning to the original intent of the Buddhist path, or to force me to dissolve Luohua Temple today. Miao Yu raised her head slowly, took a deep breath, and clasped her hands in front of her chest. Amitabha, I fully accept Sister's decree. I will immediately hand over these 79 people to Mr. Su, along with all assets to the government. I shall enter the Buddhist hall to repent, not returning until I recover the original Buddhist intent. Her hand made a gentle circle, pulling 79 people from all over the mountain. With a thud, they were thrown in front of Lin Zaiasu. Realizing there was no way out, someone shouted angrily, "Kill this dog official." With a whoosh, the entire group surged forth, brimming with murderous intent, rushing towards Lin Zaiasu, attempting to tread on his corpse to embark on their path of escape in the Jianghu. Indeed, all 79 individuals were well versed in the true martial arts of Luohua Temple. This collective assault was overwhelmingly powerful, their figure shadows covering the sky, the momentum earth-shaking. However, Master Miao Yu's face turned exceedingly grim. All the people from Luohua Temple also looked equally appalled. Because with this charge, all traces of Buddhist characteristics vanished from their being, really affirming what Lin Zaiasu and the others had said. Their slaughtering knives had not truly been laid down. They had merely been hidden. When a crisis arrives, their true nature still emerges. Facing this vast expanse of figure shadows, Lin Zaiasu smiled and waved his hand lightly. In an instant, it seemed as though autumn had departed, and the world turned into misty rain Jiangnan. 79 people plunged headfirst into this domain, their dantians rupturing. They fell from the sky one by one. Zhang Tao. Here. Take them all away. Yes. With a gesture from Zhang Tao, a battleship sliced through the air, the flagship guarded by Quang Lang. Zhang Tao waved his hand, and the 79 people fallen to the ground were simultaneously sent aboard the flagship. Lin Zaiasu extended his hand to Master Miao Yu, hand over the deeds. 4 words blunt and direct. Master Miao Yu looked at him for a long time, finally saying, Amitabha, Sister Miao Shen, hand all the deeds to Mr. Su. Miao Shen reached back, bringing a box out of thin air. It landed in her hand. She handed it over, containing all of Luohua Temple's yields over the past few millennia. Ladies, do not blame this official for being too harsh. In many years you will understand, today's loss is Luohua Temple's greatest gain, said Lin Zaiasu. Withdraw the troops. His figure drifted upwards and landed on the flagship. Zhang Tao and Gu Suixin followed suit. The flagship turned midair and vanished into nothingness. Du Yuexin's eyes followed Lin Zaiasu's back for a while, and then took a step forward. With that step, she also disappeared into thin air, leaving Luohua Temple completely bewildered. They couldn't understand why the founding ancestor acted this way. This founding ancestor entered Buddhism halfway. She was formerly the holy daughter of the reincarnation sect. When she was the holy daughter, she was known for her maverick ways, daring to think and act. Establishing Luohua Temple, she didn't delve much into the Buddhist path. The true Buddhist inheritance was actually managed by Miao Yu and Miao Shen. This founding ancestor was merely the temple guardian of this nunnery for a long time, preventing the sect's path from being cut off by others. Today, once again, the moment of life and death for Luohua Temple has arrived. They thought this founding sister would continue her usual strong approach, striking down powerful enemies. Yet the result deviated greatly. She sided completely with this man named Su, fully acknowledging all his demands. Why is that? Could it be that this Su really intimidated her? Is that possible? She's someone who has picked the Tao fruit with the reincarnation law, her state comparable to the second vessel. Even if the 4 elders of the dynasty came personally, it wouldn't create such an imposing intimidation, right? What went wrong in the process? They didn't understand these, in fact. Neither did Gu Suixin nor Zhang Tao. They had been with Lin Ziasu the entire time. They witnessed the progression step by step. If there was one thing they didn't quite get, it was undoubtedly the rear mountain. Lin Ziasu stepped into the air, met with the founding ancestor, and leaped out of their sight. In that moment, things spun a full 180 degrees. The overall direction of Luohua Temple shifted directly, from complete uncooperativeness at the beginning to full cooperation later. They couldn't guess how Lin Ziasu persuaded this founding ancestor. Zhang Tao wasn't in a position to ask. Gu Suixin asked directly, "Brother, how exactly did you persuade the founding ancestor?" Lin Ziasu didn't hide. "This founding ancestor is the beloved confidant of an old acquaintance of mine." Beloved confidant, Gu Suixin's eyes widened, but she is a nun. The vocation of a nun is merely a concept bound by time. Currently a nun, wasn't one 3,000 years ago, and in the future surely won't be one either. Gu Suixin lightly scratched his head, utterly bewildered. Kuang Lang raised her head, a faint smile appearing on her face at some point, as she was the only one in the group who knew about this because he had told her on her belly. Fu very much wanted to pull Brother Su into the cabin to celebrate their first seizing of the sect leader's position with their ways, but today's Brother Su seemed to be a bit of a gentleman, somehow managing to hold back during such a passionate moment, maintaining his restraint, preferring to chat with his junior brother on the deck rather than engage in celebratory activities in the cabin. Chapter 809, Chapter 684, Cold Moon in Kinkyu. It was unknown, but Lin Ziasu's heart was also tumultuous. His journey to Jiangnan, with the capture of Luohua Temple, truly switched to the second phase. The road ahead, the sky is high and the earth is vast. He really wanted to flirt with Fu, and then have a passionate talk about work with Kuang Lang, yet he could. To be precise, he didn't dare much. Because he knew there was a pair of eyes watching him. This pair of eyes belonged to his cheap mother-in-law. Would he dare mess around with other women at this critical moment? The autumn in Jiangnan, with the cooling of the Zhu River, advanced day by day. The wind in Jiangnan would also affect any big action of Lin Ziasu, pushing it towards the Jiangnan land. To the west of Moon Lake, a valley, the moon rises, the silver light pours down. The whole valley has a crystal palace-like transparency, clearly with a hint of chill. The cold may be the moon, the cold may be the season, the cold may be the atmosphere. Han Bailu, the valley master of Hanyu Valley, had a cup of tea in front of him, already cold for a long time. He quietly watched this cup of tea, his face as solemn as the winter frost. In front of him were the great elder and second elder of the valley, and a line of supreme elders. Anyone in this room, if brought out, would be a significant figure on Jiangnan Road that would cause 3 tremors. However, tonight they were all silent, because just now a piece of news arrived, shattering their pride as sect leaders. Luohua Temple, in less than a day, fully accepted the conditions of Su Lin. All those with Ministry of Justice records handed over without exception. All temple industries were turned over to the government. The conditions given to the sect leaders were exactly the same as those given to the 6 notoriously inferior sects in Huzhu, with no preferential treatment. Su Lin really made a move against the sect leaders. As one of the 8 great sects of Jiangnan land, Luohua Temple, whose strength was definitely not below Hanyu Valley, did not even struggle, fully accepting. Hanyu Valley very much wanted to ask, why on earth was this? Hanyu Palace would be sleepless tonight, because it is Su Lin's next target. Valley Master, the great elder slowly spoke, can we contact Master Myoxin and ask what exactly she is concerned about? He did not mention Master Myoyu, he said Myoxin. Because everyone knew this matter was led by Myoxin. Myoyu had absolutely no decision-making power. She herself was almost torn down by Myoxin. Myoxin even publicly said something that a sect leader would never say: disband Luohua Temple. Think about it, what kind of urgency, what kind of insoluble predicament would force a sect leader to speak of dissolving the sect? Valley Master Han Bailu slowly shook his head. Myoxin has no dealings with the leaders of Jiangnan sects. I cannot contact her either. The second elder said, could it really be due to concerns about the Jiaoshan array system that Su Thief mentioned? The great elder shook his head. The Jiaoshan array system is unimaginable. Even if the ancient array sect returned, deploying the Jiaoshan array system would not be the work of a day or two. How could this kid complete it? Anyway, I absolutely do not believe it. The second elder said, but Master Myoxin happened to be suppressed by him. This kid must have a trump card. Even this truly foremost cultivator on Jiangnan Road dared not lightly confront him. The great elder was speechless. For a long time he sighed deeply. A disciple of the ancient sect, leading 3,000 town-level teams to Jiangnan, many regarded it as a joke, yet to this day, we actually. Great elder, don't worry, 7 words floated in, accompanied by an enchanting silhouette under the moonlight. As soon as this figure entered the room, the moonlight inside seemed brighter by 3 points. The extremely gloomy atmosphere also became calm because of this. Holy daughter, all the elders bowed together, including the great elder. In ordinary sects, the status of top elders is above the holy son and holy daughter. It is not necessary to salute the holy son and holy daughter, but in Hanyu Valley, it is different. Because Han Yan holds dual identities, she was originally the holy daughter of Hanyu Valley, later favored by the heavenly capital, becoming the second holy daughter of the 12 holy daughters of the heavenly capital. The holy daughter of Hanyu Valley, top elders can look at evenly or even down on. However, the holy daughter of the heavenly capital is someone all sect leaders of top sects have to bow to. If strength is respected on the cultivation path, then they need to salute more. Because Han Yan's cultivation is at the realm of mastery, while the great elder is but a half-step Tao. Throughout the hall, only 2 people were on the same level of cultivation with her. One was Valley Master Han Bailu, the other was a Supreme Elder Han Danchuan. Yanner, you might as well tell us the current situation, Valley Master Han Bailu said. Yes, what worries father is only the Zhaoshan array system. I've already sent a message to the heavenly capital. If the Zhaoshan array system appears, the heavenly capital can intervene. Han Bailu was overjoyed. The heavenly capital is actually willing to make a move for our Hanyu Valley. Han Yan gently shook her head. Father, don't misunderstand my meaning. I was only referring to the Zhaoshan array system. If the heavenly capital takes action, it will only be for the Zhaoshan array system, not for Hanyu Valley. Everyone exchanged glances, and they all understood her meaning. Years ago, the heavenly capital had a feud with the ancient array sect. The heavenly capital's 300 leaders, 100,000 elites, died under the Zhaoshan killing array of the ancient array sect. It was a disaster for a whole generation. It was because of that disaster, the heavenly capital experienced the most severe split in its history. Therefore, the heavenly capital is especially sensitive to the Zhaoshan array system. Han Bailu said, as long as we suppress this kid's array path, what else can he threaten this valley with? Father's words are the truth, Han Yan said. I shall reside at Moon Lake and observe whether he truly dares to cross even a half-step beyond Moon Lake. Chapter 810, Chapter 684, Cold Moon in Kinkyu. The words of Han Yan concluded. The person had already vanished. The downfall of the Luohua Temple brought immense pressure to Hanyu Valley, but it dispersed like smoke and clouds because of Han Yan's words. Whether Su Lin could truly develop the circulation array system was no longer their concern. If the circulation array appeared, naturally, there would be masters from heavenly capital to counter it. If the circulation array did not appear, could these 3,000 ragtag troops still conquer Hanyu Valley? This young man might truly have frightened Master Myoxin of the Luohua Temple with an incredible circulation array system. But this couldn't scare Hanyu Valley, because behind Hanyu Valley is heavenly capital. What kind of place is heavenly capital? Today, it is the foremost of the 3 sects, holding a commanding position. Even if the ancient array sect were to resurrect, under heavenly capital's rule, it would just be sending itself to the guillotine again. The gaze followed along Shunyu Lake all the way north, directly to Kinkyu. The Kinkyu Elder Council was in session. The debate was extremely heated. On one side was the main lineage team represented by Fu Ling, with members such as the 2nd Princess Fu Ya, 4th Princess Fu Yun, 3rd Clan member Fu Shu, and 7th Clan member Fu Yun. On the other side was the elder team led by the Great Elder. Fu Ling coldly said, the marriage of my 7th sister, after all, is a family matter of our Fu lineage. While it's acceptable for the Great Elder to manage Kinkyu clan affairs while my parents are in seclusion, controlling even the personal matters of our Fu lineage so forcefully, isn't that overstepping a bit? The Great Elder said, Great Clan child, your words are quite disorderly. I am personally authorized by the clan leader. During the clan leader's seclusion, I manage all kinds of affairs of Kinkyu, which naturally includes all external affairs of Kinkyu. The marriage of the seventh princess was long permitted by the clan leader, and I have endeavored to oversee it tirelessly. Is it not excessive for the great clan child to accuse me, someone who diligently and laboriously handles clan affairs? Fu Ling said, the marriage of the seventh sister was personally approved by our father. Why then does the great elder now deny it? The great elder said, the person approved by the clan leader was Li Chengyan of Zaihe, but the Su Lin villain is not Li Chengyan, rather, he is the true murderer of Li Chengyan. Since the day the marriage contract was established, Li Chengyan has been Kinkyu's son-in-law. Kinkyu's son-in-law being murdered by this person, we in Kinkyu should not share the same sky with this person. How can we let this mistake continue? Indeed, the second elder said, our Kinkyu, an ancient great clan, how could it be a clan without integrity? How could it recognize the murderer of its son-in-law as the son-in-law? I agree with the opinions of the great elder and second elder. Su Lin, the villain, and we of Kinkyu cannot share the same sky. For a time, the elder team's momentum soared. They elevated it to the height of avenging their beloved son-in-law for the clan. Second Princess Fuya smiled faintly. Originally, I didn't understand clan matters at all, but the arguments that the great elder used to persuade my parents that day, I remember vividly and fully agreed. The great elder said at the time, the children of Kinkyu have the responsibility to serve Kinkyu diligently. Why not trade one daughter for strong support from a great external force? But today, Su Lin has become a new noble in the court, deeply trusted by His Majesty. Is it not the exact embodiment of the great elder's fervor back then, if Kinkyu, having made a mistake, allies through marriage? Yet, the great elder now changes and no longer prioritizes Kinkyu's great cause, but instead acts on impulse, binding tightly to a dead Li Chengyan. I truly doubt whether the great elder values Kinkyu, or is wholeheartedly loyal to Heart Pavilion instead. These words were extremely sharp, directly pointing to the core, and very persuasive. Initially, Kinkyu was wholeheartedly thinking of marrying into Heart Pavilion through Li Chengyan. The elder's team's persuasion to the whole of Kinkyu was, Kinkyu needed the support of external great powers, and marrying into Heart Pavilion, marrying into the Zaihe Li family, was of huge help to Kinkyu. This rationale was undoubtedly lofty. Its persuasion was also very strong. The Kinkyu clan leader and many high-ranking individuals were convinced, although the main lineage children found it somewhat disgraceful. None voiced dissent in the face of such grand matters. Later, an inconceivable major change happened. The chosen target, Li Chengyan, defected from Heart Pavilion, aided the court, and became a new noble in the court, ultimately revealing his true identity as not Li Chengyan but another person, ancient Gate Su Lin, who had come to Kinkyu to seek marriage. By then, the situation reversed. The main lineage children of the Kinkyu clan leader, especially those led by Fu Ling, including several clan members and princesses, leaned towards letting the error persist and accepting Su Lin as the Kinkyu son-in-law. Their reasoning was exactly the same as the great elder's earlier argument. Kinkyu needed external forces. Su Lin was now a new noble in the court, with the background of ancient Gate, and more importantly, the poetry and elegance exhibited when he came to Kinkyu deeply impressed the younger generation. Why shouldn't we let the error persist? Yet the great elder's side insisted on avenging Li Chengyan, the Kinkyu son-in-law, and firmly refused to acknowledge Su Lin as Kinkyu's son-in-law. The second princess bluntly revealed, the great elder, you were so fervent before, but now you are acting impulsively. Is it truly just impulsive? I suspect you have been bought by Heart Pavilion. Your starting point is not for Kinkyu's fate, but entirely loyal to Heart Pavilion's mental path. The great elder's face suddenly darkened. Second princess, do you still remember the Tianhu ancestors' teachings? Tianhu ancestors' teachings. This is the ancestral teaching of all Kinkyu. Everyone's hearts sank simultaneously upon hearing it. The second elder stepped forward. On Jiuji Mountain's 8-foot winds, the road of the southern dynasty was cut off, water flowing eastward. If the tender thread lay on the azure edge, clouds going and returning would be different. Tianhu ancestor sacrificed his life's blood to assist a generation of human emperors to ascend the throne, finally ending in betrayal. The ancestor left a dying command. The Kinkyu clan shall only walk the cultivation road, not step into the gates of the officialdom. Now, all clan members and princesses who seek to curry favor with officials, have you forgotten your ancestors' teachings? Chapter 811, Chapter 684, Cold Moon in Kinkyu. With these words, they once again occupied the moral high ground. Truly, you accuse me of colluding with the mental path and heart pavilion, and I counter your accusation of violating the ancestral mandate. Fu Ling and Fu Ye exchange glances, feeling utterly helpless. In the Kinkyu clan, there is one thing that is politically correct: the ancestral mandate. Anything that involves the ancestral mandate, the descendants truly cannot criticize. Who is to say that the first-generation human emperor does indeed owe a debt to the Tianhu ancestor? Suddenly, a human figure stepped into the void, and a mysterious aura instantly filled the council hall. A woman appeared out of thin air in front of Fu Ling. It was none other than the stunningly beautiful Fu Feng. "Elder sister," Fu Ling exclaimed in surprise. "Elder sister, you haven't returned to Kinkyu for 100 years, and today you actually—" Fu Ye was even more delighted. She had the best relationship with Fu Feng. They were true sisters at heart. Fu Feng's absence for a century had left Fu Ye feeling very lonely. Today, her elder sister had finally returned. Fu Feng's gaze swept over her younger siblings' faces, then turned to the great elder. "I just heard the second elder's impassioned speech, saying that when Kinkyu chooses a husband, we do not need to consider his political status, only his position on the cultivation path. Is this the consensus of the elders?" The great elder nodded. "It should be so." Fu Feng said, "Very well, great elder, how about we make a wager?" "A wager," the great elder said in a low voice. "Let's wager on Su Lin's cultivation, to see if he can withstand your single strike." The entire council hall fell silent. The great elder seemed also taken aback. "I deliver a strike." "Precisely." "Impossible," Fu Ling shouted. "Elder sister, this isn't fair. The great elder has already reached the half-step realm. How can he wager cultivation with the junior? If you want to bet, then let it be one of Kinkyu's second-generation disciples. Pick anyone to duel him." "Exactly," Fu Ye said. "I agree with the elder brother's suggestion. Aren't the elders emphasizing cultivation? Then let's compare cultivation by matching our top-level second-generation disciples against him. If none can defeat him, then his position on the cultivation path evidently makes him worthy of our seventh sister." Fu Feng's hand suddenly raised sharply. "Silence! I am the eldest sister and I have the final say." Fu Ling and Fu Ye's whole bodies trembled, and they dared not speak again. The atmosphere completely froze. After a long while, the great elder smiled faintly. "The eldest princess's words are final." "The Heavenly Fox contract can be established," Fu Feng said. "The Heavenly Fox contract. The most important contract within Kinkyu. If violated, one can never return to Kinkyu for life." The faces of the gathered elders tensed up, and the great elder said slowly, "It seems the eldest princess is serious. May I ask what is at stake in this wager?" Fu Feng said, "If the great elder wins, I, Fu Feng, along with the brothers and sisters present, will leave the Kinkyu register, leaving Kinkyu open to your will. But if the great elder loses, I request that the great elder lead the attending elders to leave the Kinkyu register and no longer intervene in Kinkyu's affairs." The hall once again fell silent. Everyone's hearts were all pounding fiercely. The great elder gently exhaled. "The eldest princess seems quite confident in this Su Lin. May I ask what gives you this confidence? Just say whether you accept or decline." The great elder's gaze slowly lifted, staring directly at the heavens. The second elder spoke. "The eldest princess says, if Su Lin survives a single strike from the great elder, it is considered the great elder's failure." Fu Feng said, "If the great elder truly lacks confidence, perhaps make a change. Engage Su Lin in a fair fight with no restrictions on moves and let the final outcome determine the winner." The great elder suddenly lowered his head, locking his fierce eyes firmly on Fu Feng. The brothers and sisters behind Fu Feng also stared at her in disbelief. A fair fight with no restrictions on moves. Such a wager. Yet it was happening between the great elder and this young Su Lin. Is this possible? Chapter 812, Chapter 685, Crossing West Moon Lake today. If Su Lin takes a strike from the great elder, it might still be possible. After all, he is a person from the ancient sect, walking the world and possibly having some bizarre life-saving methods. However, a fair fight would be too shocking. A person at most at the Enlightenment God realm, fighting face-to-face without any conditions against the Kinkyu Great Elder, who is already half a step into the realm of mastery. How could there be any suspense? The Great Elder said, "Su Lin, does he dare?" Fu Feng said, "If he dares not, it will be considered a forfeiture. Kinkyu shall still target him, carrying out the revenge plan set by the Great Elder. Our few brothers and sisters, who are an eyesore to you, will still leave the Kinkyu Fox register. The Great Elder sighed long. I have no heart for competition, but to avoid the peril of Kinkyu, I accept this wager. With the Heavenly Fox as a contract, Fu Feng extended a hand, and an illusory Heavenly Fox pattern appeared in front of her. With the Heavenly Fox as a contract. The Great Elder's fingers and Fu Feng's fingers met at this illusory, Heavenly Fox pattern. At this connection, the eyes of the Heavenly Fox blinked gently, indicating the contract has been completed. The Great Elder smiled. Fu Feng also smiled. Behind Fu Feng, a wisp of voice from Fu Ling slipped into her ear. Big sister, what exactly are you playing at? The voice was like a groan. Utterly helpless. Fu Feng's gaze slowly dropped, landing on the faces of the younger siblings. Fu Ling, you transmitted the voice to me. How about I answer you in public? The contract is set. Regret comes too late, big sister, just speak. Fu Ling sighed gently. Fu Feng said, the reason I reached this Heavenly Fox contract with the Great Elder is for only one purpose, to permanently expel this batch of treacherous traitors. Even if our parents were bewitched by them and wished to keep them, it will be of no avail. Fu Ling's brows furrowed suddenly. His heart was like a tangle of octopuses. Big sister, you stated this openly. It sounds quite gratifying, but you also need to have confidence, right? You let Su Lin have a duel with the Great Elder. It's not even on the same level, not a match, absolutely without suspense. There's fundamentally no unexpected outcome, right? With us few in Kinkyu, we could barely contend against the Great Elder. Now with a single contract, you've expelled us all from Kinkyu, and with the Great Elder doing whatever they please, who expels whom? The Great Elder's face turned ashen, but the smile still slowly emerged. The eldest princess seems to have a deep misunderstanding about me, wanting to expel me, but alas, you chose the wrong method. Fu Feng slowly turned, chose the wrong method. The Great Elder said, Su Lin has no chance of winning. Fu Feng smiled an alluring smile. Great Elder, Heart Pavilion sent you messages. Unfortunately, I'm back. I intercepted their urgent transmissions for you. The Great Elder's smile abruptly froze. Fu Feng said, the content of the transmission is about an incident 3 days ago, Su Lin, whom you see as a cultivation waste aside from being an official, sliced giant Kingshan with a single sword. The Great Elder's complexion changed drastically. Everyone's complexion changed. Fu Feng laughed. If I remember correctly, last year the Great Elder even had a bout with giant Kingshan and suffered defeat in 7 swords, is it not? Now facing Su Lin, who sliced giant Kingshan with 1 sword, do you still think your duel with him is without suspense? Impossible, absolutely impossible, the Great Elder said in a deep voice. Impossible? It seems you don't believe what I said. Then have a look at the various letters Heart Pavilion sent to the elders in the past 3 days. You should believe their words. Fu Feng reached out, a half-moon hairpin floating from her hair. With a quiver of the moon hairpin, myriad gleams burst forth. The whole heavens and earth seemed to have stepped into an ancient secret realm. Letters came from Heart Pavilion, and the recipients were almost all in this meeting hall. The most sensational piece of news was an incident 3 days ago in Ning City, the capital of Huzhu. Su Lin convened the 7 great sect masters of Huzhu for talks, and the sect master of Duan Giant Sect, Giant Kingshan, spoke harshly. Su Lin executed Giant Kingshan with a single sword stroke. Special note, without any official seal augmentation, by the strength of his astonishing sword Dao alone, he slew Sword Dao Master Giant Kingshan in a frontal assault. The Great Elder trembled all over, staring fixedly at those letters. The other elders were similarly pale, staring at their letters. Today, Fu Feng's return to the clan offered them a chance to slay Su Lin directly, given its lack of suspense, such that the shrewd Great Elder also signed. After signing, he repeatedly considered if he could take advantage of this rare opportunity to make a great contribution to the mental path by killing Su Lin. However, in a blink, 2 heavy blows came one after another. The first blow, Su Lin, by genuine ability, slew Giant Kingshan in a frontal assault. If he could kill Giant Kingshan, how could the Great Elder be his match? This utterly suspenseful wager was already inevitably lost within moments. The second blow, their association with the mental path was completely revealed. This hairpin is no ordinary hairpin. It is the Heavenly Fox hairpin. A hairpin left by the Heavenly Fox ancestor in the past. As the eldest daughter of the current generation, Fu Feng was bestowed with it. The greatest use of the heavenly fox hairpin is to block and intercept the heavenly mechanism. Even the heavenly mechanism can be intercepted. What information can penetrate its defense? Fu Feng's return was not today. On one hand, she obtained the latest intelligence from her younger sister Fu Fu. On the other, she silently set up a net sprawling the skies and the earth atop Kinkyu, quietly intercepting secret communications between various Heart Pavilion locations and the Kinkyu elders. Chapter 813, Chapter 685, Crossing into West Moon Lake today /2. The people of the Heart Pavilion believed that the information had been successfully delivered to the elder. However, it was intercepted entirely by an ancient divine artifact. When it was publicly deciphered, the elder who had ties with the mental path and Heart Pavilion was thoroughly exposed. The great elder slowly opened his tightly shut eyes. The eldest princess has such deep machinations. Yet, my association with the Heart Pavilion is an open matter, all to unite forces for Kinkyu. Is that considered my grave sin? Fu Feng stared into his eyes, coldly saying, I don't need to argue with you about your guilt. I only remember that you just signed the Heavenly Fox contract and that you have a life-and-death battle with Su Lin. If you lose, all of you must leave Kinkyu. The great elder's spirit platform was surrounded by a swirl of black aura, darkening his vision. He had just accused Fu Feng of deep schemes, but the real scheme lay not in gathering information with the Heavenly Fox hairpin, but in that piece of paper, the Heavenly Fox contract. If it were merely external ties, it would remain a debatable topic for days without resolution, one they need not overly concern themselves with. You say I have ties with the Heart Pavilion and mental path, but I openly admit it's all for Kinkyu. But the tightest noose around their necks was this decisive battle with Su Lin. If the great elder lost with Su Lin's nature, there would be no mercy. Once he dies, his entire group must, per the contract, leave Kinkyu. This is what Fu Feng truly intended with her long journey back to the clan. As the eldest daughter of Kinkyu, she's wandered the Jianghu for a whole century. Her cultivation may not be pinnacle, but her scheming has improved immensely. Fu Ya's face turned red. I'm going to tell seventh sister. She was about to leave. Fu Feng stretched out her hand, grabbing her. No need to go. Seventh sister isn't even in Kinkyu. She has already run away. In the quiet room in seclusion, it's actually her maid in disguise using the Heavenly Fox bracelet. Everyone was shocked simultaneously. Where did seventh sister go? She transformed into a green-robed scholar and is having a great time with her brother Su in Jiangnan. Fu Feng smiled. She actually participated in Su Lin's trip to Jiangnan. Fu Ling's eyes shone brightly. Fu Feng raised her gaze, staring at the elder council before her. Now do you see? The current generation of Kinkyu descendants can accomplish great things, such as establishing rules on the Jiangnan cultivation path. And you, aside from blindly rejecting the imperial family, what else can you do other than choosing a gutter rat? Exactly, Fu Ling said. You can mindlessly oppose the imperial family, but you can't ignore the iron fact that by allying with them, you can achieve great achievements. Fu Feng smiled. This was another of her goals in returning to the clan. She, call it what you will, be it infatuation or the traditional soft for men, trait of the Fox clan, she has ties with the imperial family. She is a concubine of the seventh prince. According to the Heavenly Fox ancestors' teachings, she is violating the ancestral rules. Thus, she hopes this generation of Kinkyu descendants can change this stereotype. There are countless people in the world, and many emperors too. Just because the first human emperor failed the Heavenly Fox ancestor doesn't mean every subsequent emperor will wrong the Fox clan women. At least her husband would. That night, Lin Zaiasu was very well behaved. So well behaved that he was unrecognizable. Fu Fu tried numerous times to entice him with Miao Mu, wanting to lure him into the cabin for something, but he was slow and didn't get it. Fu Fu's lips pouted to the point of being able to hang an oil bottle. Quang Lang, feeling his presence nearby, her thoughts wandered far tonight. He didn't intend to enter the cabin. Might he invite her to patrol the river? Today, even the sect leader was taken down. He truly had good reason to have fun with her. But he didn't. He sat by the table chatting with Gu Suixin, drinking, sipping tea and eating fruits. Why? Quang Lang's heart sank bit by bit. Could it be he's grown tired of her? Indeed, after all, she's not pretty. 2 times might have been enough for him. In the future, perhaps there will be no more chances to be with him. Sir, you're so cruel, do you know that? If you hadn't touched me, I certainly wouldn't have such thoughts, but you did touch me. You led me to such pleasant experiences and then you left. It leaves one so empty inside. Luckily, a night's time is ultimately short. No matter how hard it is to endure, a night passes easily. The next day at dawn. As the sun rose, Lin Zaiyasu stood up. Target west of Moon Lake set out. The flagship moved, the army began. Lin Zaiyasu sent troops to West Moon Lake. It was the west of Moon Lake, mentioned in the poem Han Yan gave him that day. If the north wind knows, it won't go beyond West Moon Lake. This was Han Yan's warning. She was explicitly telling him, if you're sensible, don't touch my Hanyu Valley. Today, Lin Zaiyasu clearly responded to her, I intend to touch your Hanyu Valley. The thunder roared, Moon Lake stood still, the sun rose, the lake waters shimmering gold. 50 warships set sail from Huzhu, crossing Moon Lake. Above the sky white clouds floated, the flags on the warships waved, everything seemed so normal. However, sudden changes erupted in front of West Moon Lake. Suddenly, the lake water became misty and disorienting. The warships plunged into the zone, and the sky and waters seemed like another world. Above the sky, blossoming peach flowers. Below the water, a fog pervades. It appeared so beautiful, yet concealed enormous eeriness. Petals drifted down from the sky, vanishing into the mist like funeral offerings. Senior brother, Gu Suixin's face changed. One of the 7 strange techniques of the heavenly capital, the Zhanghua technique. Chapter 814, Chapter 685, Passing Through West Moon Lake Today 3. Zhang Tao's face also changed. He knew of the 7 strange techniques of heavenly capital. Heavenly battle technique, earth suppression technique, demon slaying skill, immortal realm technique, Zhanghua technique. The Zhanghua technique, the name sounds elegant, but it is the most terrifying thing when the army is on the march. Everything changes, the aura shifts entirely. Once you enter the Zhanghua realm, it's like entering a maze you cannot escape. Flowers fall as people perish. Burying flowers is also burying people. At the place where the chaotic flowers fly, a strand of zither music is endlessly melancholy, like a funeral song. No one can recognize the origin of the zither music. It drifts ethereally from all directions. A woman's voice came. I am but a guest from the north, heedless of the absurd. This lake is not my homeland. There will always come a time to discuss returning. Flowers bloom and will wither. The moon rises and hesitates. I send these words from that day, offering a branch before parting. The gentle poem penetrates the heart and bones. Above the sky, countless flower petals drift down, covering everyone in the fleet. Many soldiers looked at the petals falling from the sky, felt the unique ambience among the petals, and seemed to be dazed as if dreaming. In their dreams, they seemed to see their loved ones descending from the sky to welcome them. Lin Zaiyasu slowly stood up. He took a step towards the void outside the ship. This step was like a drop of water falling on a calm lake. A rippled circle slowly spread beneath his feet. As the ripples dispersed, the scene changed. Centered around him, it was no longer a mist but a surface of water. Gu Suixin's eyes suddenly brightened, murmuring, a battle for the Tao realm. Zhang Tao's heart leaped, a battle for the Tao realm. This is a war occurring within the realm of Tao mastery, similar to a domain battle. The opponent is holding the Wei Han Yan. She used the Zhanghua technique of heavenly capital to create her own Tao realm space. In the face of holding the Wei, they, along with their subordinates, this entire army, had no chance to counterattack, because none of them could hold the Wei. At the level of holding the Wei, the fight is not about military power, but the Tao realm. And their lord, obviously not having anyone who could hold the Wei, yet took one step forward, directly engaging in a Tao realm battle. Lin Zaiyasu raised his gaze, shooting straight at the heavens, and said lightly, Miss Han, being a woman, you enjoy the falling and flying flowers, sending me a Zhanghua poem. As a man, I enjoy the clear sky and bright moon more. Shall I reply with spring river flower moon night? Han Yan laughed. Spring river, are you sure it is spring now? As long as there is spring in my heart, even the autumn winds are spring. Han Yan said, what a bold Su the talented, then please. Lin Zaiyasu began to recite. The tides of the Zhu River connect to the sea level. The bright moon on the sea rises with the tide. It follows the waves for thousands of miles. Where is the spring river not moonlit? As the 4 lines of poetry were recited, the flower petals omnipresent in the sky suddenly stopped falling. The petals had a faint moonlight upon them. In the sky, a bright moon suddenly appeared. Beneath him, the Zhu River water like a maze, vaguely returned. Gu Suixin shuddered, space law. His space had already infiltrated the opponent's Tao realm. The Tao realm space created by the opponent was replaced by his space. Fufu's small mouth slightly opened, the whole person as if suddenly being poured with a pot of strong liquor. Reciting poetry. Reciting poetry again. There are very few people in the world who know that her brother Su, initially at Kinkyu, was known for his poetry and musical elegance. Today, he has initiated it again. And Yan's heart also suddenly jumped. Once again felt the overwhelming literary talent. A poem just 4 lines but so exquisite. With such a feeling, Han Yan secretly thought something was wrong. If it were an ordinary day, she would also be willing to appreciate such perfect verses, and appreciating them would absolutely be filled with pleasure. However, before her is a Tao realm contest. She cannot appreciate anything coming from him. As soon as she admires it, she will agree to it, and agreeing means he completes his infiltration into her Tao realm. Hurry and find his flaw. Flaws were found. The poem is excellent but incomplete. Having this realization, the flower petals in the sky regained their vigor. However, Lin Ziao's poem was not finished, proceeding further. The river flows winding around the fragrant fields. The moon shines on the flower woods like frost. In the void, frost flows unnoticed. On the river, the white sandbank is unseen. With a light hum, the white fog just formed over the river below dissipated like smoke. Han Yan's whole body trembled, her entire mind seized by the beauty engraved in the bones of the poetic imagery, unable to control her emotions. The river and sky are of one color, without a trace of dust. In the sky, a solitary moon wheel. On the riverbank, in which year did the moon first shine? In which year did the Jiang moon first shine on people? As these 4 lines fell, all the flower petals in the sky and on the ground were completely cleared. Truly the river and sky were of one color, without a trace of dust. In the sky, a solitary moon, pure and unmatched. Under the Jiang moon, below Lin Ziaosu, a light boat appeared from thin air. He stood gracefully at the helm, drifting nearby. Han Yan gazed dazedly at this scene, her heart utterly filled by Lin Ziaosu's poem. Every beautiful word, like every irreplaceable inch of space in this piece of heaven and earth, together creating his painted spring river flower moon night. She wanted to resist, but the deep intoxication rose from her bones. This intoxication caused the fractures in her Tao realm to spread. And Lin Ziaosu, standing alone at the helm, abides under the unique atmosphere of his spring river flower moon night. The space law Tao seed within him gently trembled, as if also stirred. Before he knew it, the Tao seed opened, and a complete space law Tao flower emerged from its shell. With the unfolding of the great Tao flower, the secret realm space within him harmoniously merged with this space, for the first time touching the threshold of the 3rd level of the 3 secret realms that Ding Ruishui once spoke of. The human body secret realm has 3 levels. The first is called Solitude, the second, Aid, and the third, Replacement. Chapter 815, Chapter 685, Crossing West Moon Lake today 4. What is replacement? The mutual replacement of the secret realm within and the external space. He suddenly felt that the secret realm inside him was no different from the real world beneath his feet, and he could place the time-space chaos into this real space. The time-space chaos is the most formidable trump card in his secret realm. It had once shattered many primordial spirits. But that kind of shattering had great shackles. It had to be that the primordial spirit was blind and crashed into his secret realm space on its own. And now, being able to draw the time-space chaos out of the secret realm space means that the greatest shackle upon him is no longer a shackle. His heart was filled with endless joy. The spring river flower moon night, he recited, also flowed endlessly, pushing this spring river towards the most magical realm. At this moment, we gaze upon each other but cannot hear. May I pursue the moonlight to shine upon you. On the river's surface, a silver shuttle appeared. Upon the silver shuttle, Han Yan, like a fairy in the moonlight, looked at him with eyes full of confusion, as if pondering an age-old question. Why at this moment, though we gaze at each other from the river, are we enemies? Must we be enemies? I do not wish to oppose him. I wish to follow the boundless moonlight and journey with him. Above in the sky, there was also a silver shuttle. The silver shuttle was a product of the heavenly capital. Upon the silver shuttle, there was likewise a person from the heavenly capital. The Shanling Saintess once again performed the immortal realm technique, and within the immortal realm was no longer a speck of dust. She looked at the spring river night moon painting, entranced. The tilted moon sinks deep to hide in the sea mist, endless paths of Jia Shi and Zio Xiang. I don't know how many return by the moon. The falling moon shakes the feelings of trees along the river. As the last line of poetry fell behind Lin Ziasu, the tree shadows swayed in the wind. He appeared before Han Yan's silver shuttle, with a bright moon behind him. He was so elegant and charming. Han Yan took a deep breath, her eyes slowly opening. At first they were dazed, but as the night wind blew, the daze instantly dissipated, replaced by the clarity of the cold moon. Twice this little girl has recited poems, receiving twice the response from Mr. Su, each poem more astonishing than the last. The talent of Mr. Su, Han Yan admires greatly. How dare I? Lin Ziasu smiled. However, Han Yan's burial flower poem is not a poem but a melody. Han Yan's hand rose, falling on the zither strings on her lap. As if the wind blew over, as if the water flowed by. An exquisite melody was born from her lap. The clear water of the Zhu River beneath Lin Ziasu's feet suddenly transformed into endless spring flowers. Each spring flower shattered, swept into the vast void beneath his feet, extending all the way to Lin Ziasu's feet. On the battleship, Gu Suixin's pupils suddenly shrank. She's showing her true skills. The previous poem by Han Yan merely opened her Tao realm. Now, this melody truly interprets the Tao realm of burial flower. This is the true wrath of the great power of Tao, overturning clouds with a hand and covering the rain, threatening to destroy the world. Lin Ziasu watched the blossoming and dying flowers beneath his feet, smiling slightly. Let the saintess know, my spring river flower moon night is not only a poem, it's also a melody. As he spoke, his hand rose, and a flute effortlessly lifted into the air. The music was so wonderful, perfectly interpreting the true essence of the spring river flower moon night. The night of the spring river should be silent. The night of the spring river, with a bright moon hanging in the sky. The night of the spring river, fate is ever-changing, yet people have steadfast hearts. I may not need to witness every rise and fall of the moon and stars. I may not need to trace when the riverbank was first illuminated by the moon, when the river moon first shone upon people. I only know that life is short, to follow my own path, think what I want to think, love who I want to love, my mind roams free. The music rose, smoothing the blossoming and dying flowers beneath his feet, sweeping away layer upon layer of mist upon the spring river. With a bridge of emotion, spanned the bottomless abyss. On the battleship, Fu Fu was already utterly intoxicated. The silver shuttle in the sky also completely lost itself in the beautiful flute music. Unbeknownst to her, the music from Han Yan's lap transformed into a flowing spring river, following Lin Ziasu's flute's musical steps. In this following, her Tao realm changed from a leader to a follower. And she, however, was utterly unaware. This actually meant that she had already lost. Lost completely. Chapter 816. Chapter 686, pointing to the other shore, treading the cycle of reincarnation. Above the sky, a silhouette suddenly appeared. Looking at the scene below, his heart was pounding. He was Han Bailu. He was also in the realm of Tao mastery, and he knew clearly that his daughter had been defeated. His daughter's defeat was not due to a lack of cultivation, but because she lost in the Tao realm. Entering the Tao through poetry and music, achieving the ultimate exquisiteness, yet the success was due to poetry and music, and so was the defeat. If she encountered someone whose poetry and music surpassed hers, she would lose without any doubt in the most baffling way. He must not let him dominate his daughter's Tao realm, must not let her develop a path of confusion and lose her way. His hand suddenly reached out. This reach directly pointed at the moon created by Lin Ziasu. Hanyu Valley, named after the moon. With this point, the moon created by Lin Ziasu was suddenly absorbed into his palm. With this absorption, the artistic conception of the spring river flower moon night was directly emptied. The entire world, no night, no moon, no falling flowers leaving the branch, no bottomless abyss. Only a beam of moonlight, transformed into an earth-shattering sword, slicing directly towards Lin Ziasu in the void. Lin Ziasu suddenly raised his head, his expression slightly changed. This was the first time in his life that he truly faced an attack from a Taoist. No realm contest, only a confrontation of pure cultivation. Who? He saw it clearly, a middle-aged man, using the moon as a blade. The sword light carried the omnipresent, all-pervasive moonlight, along with the bone-chilling cold of the northern ice flow. The valley master of Hanyu Valley, Han Bailu. It's him. Not good. On the battleship, Gu Suixin leaped into the sky as he leapt up. 4 symbols of azure dragon, white tiger, vermilion bird, and black tortoise suddenly appeared around him. The 4 symbols' power faced this move, Jade blade. Just as he was about to intercept, suddenly, another beam of moonlight rose above the clouds. Swoosh! The shadows of the 4 symbols surrounding him were all cut off. The sword light not decreased but increased, slashing towards Gu Suixin's chest. Gu Suixin roared in anger, like a dragon, like a tiger. His hands suddenly split apart, left hand dragon claw, right hand tiger claw. The dragon and tiger crossed, forcibly blocking the sword. Boom! He was propelled 100 feet backward into the void. The huge shockwave also swept back into the sky, clearing the white clouds above, revealing an elder whose face bore a different expression. This elder, shockingly, was the supreme elder of Hanyu Valley, Han Donchuan. This person, too, was a Taoist. All 3 major Taoists of Hanyu Valley were present. Gu Suixin's heart was filled with a rolling chill. He was blocked from the rescue. Could Brother Su rely on his true cultivation to withstand Han Bailu's blade? This blade was far from being the one yellow leaf from Master Miao Shen yesterday. This blade was no probe, but a genuine full-force attack. Brother Su's reaction worried him greatly, because he seemed not to sense the terror of this blade, as if he had no countermeasures. Watching as this blade descended from the sky, about to cleave him in 2. Suddenly, a person appeared in front of Lin Ziasu. A long-haired woman. Her hand gently raised, and in her palm, a red spider lily appeared out of thin air. Once the red spider lily emerged, it suddenly expanded tens of thousands of feet, covering all space. The moonlight turned into a blade, falling on the red spider lily. It seemed to suddenly enter another cycle of reincarnation. Not a single strand of blade light could fall upon Lin Ziasu. Han Bailu's face suddenly changed. Han Dongxin's face above the clouds also changed. This was the means of a Taoist. Which Taoist? Her appearance fell into Han Bailu's eyes, and he reacted as if seeing a ghost. Master Myoxin. Miaozin. On the silver shuttle below, Han Yan, just released from the constraints of the Tao realm, felt a sudden chill in her heart. Master Myoxin, a name she focused on. Because Miao Zin entered the Tao through the reincarnation law. From the perspective of the Tiandu Saintess, Taoists not only differ in levels but also in authenticity. The levels are 1 vow, vice 2, and Jaisan. Authenticity, however, refers to the foundation of entering the Tao. In the eyes of heavenly capital experts, those who enter the Tao through rule enlightenment are true, while those who enter the Tao through rule understanding are actually false. In Jiangnan there were more than 30 Taoists, but only one was true. That was Master Myoxin. She entered the Tao through the reincarnation law. Yesterday, this Taoist she alone deemed worthy betrayed Jiangnan comrades, kneeled to the court which already caused her fear. And today, when Su Lin faced Han Bailu directly at Hanyu Valley, she appeared once again beside Su Lin. Master Myoxin, no, it should be Du Yuxin, slowly spoke. I have been Miao Zin for 3,000 years, today I quit. I hereby inform the members of Hanyu Valley that I am now Du Yuxin of the reincarnation sect. Han Bailu's eyebrows were tightly knit. 3,000 years of Buddhist meditation, yet failing to smooth out the Saint Lady's secular desires. Du Yuxin, the reincarnation saintess 3,000 years ago. After becoming a nun, the reincarnation sect naturally had a new saintess, and she was the Saint Lady. I became Miao Zin because I couldn't retrieve a heart lost in the secular world, but now I found it, Du Yuxin said. The entire audience was shocked. Gu Suixin inwardly cursed, damn. She found her heart tied to the secular world. Brother Su, what on earth did you do yesterday? Even an old nun who practiced for 3,000 years was rekindled with worldly desires by you. You said she was the cherished confidant of a former acquaintance, but why do I feel like that acquaintance is actually you? Not only did he think this way. Even Fu Fu on the battleship was jittery inside. A voice slipped into Quang Lang's ear. Hey, from a woman's perspective, do you think my husband really could charm any heart, including a 3,000-year-old nun? Quang Lang's heart quickly raced. You're asking me, what do you mean? Isn't it obvious? It's just you and me, the two women here. Quang Lang's heartbeat slowed in relief. So it was this, thank goodness. I thought you discovered me stealing your man. Oh no, it's your man who stole me. Chapter 817. Chapter 686. With a touch, the other shore. With a step, the wheel of reincarnation, Part 2. The risk of exposure was lifted, and she analyzed this with a calm mind. The more she analyzed, the more possible it seemed. My own husband. Oh no, my own lord truly has a way of teasing any woman. Even a woman like me, who doesn't seem like a woman, has been teased by him into this state. Who else could withstand him? Han Bailu laughed heartily. Was the worldly heart of Saint Lady Du recovered by this Mr. Su for you? Yes. Admitting it with candor. Han Bailu laughed. As a senior figure, Saint Lady spent thousands of years in the Buddhist spiritual cultivation, yet because of a junior, her emotions are stirred. Doesn't this feel a bit shameful? Du Yuxin said. For thousands of years, this seat entered the empty gate because of the mistaken belief of having no worldly attachments. But now, I know, my husband has never failed me, my daughter is still in the human world, my son-in-law wants to go to Jiangnan, family affection has never abandoned me. Why should I have to abandon family ties? Everyone's eyes simultaneously widened. Son-in-law Mr. Su is your son-in-law. Exactly, Du Yuxin said. The people of Hanyu Valley need to think clearly. If you insist on obstructing my son-in-law's path, this seat does not mind destroying your Hanyu Valley. A long wind blew across the battleship. Her words were heard by the entire army. A voice of Quang Lang drifted into Fu Fu's ear. He already has a wife, which seems not to be you. Fu Fu said boldly, is it strange for a person like my husband to have a wife? You're making a fuss about nothing. You're not disappointed. Fu Fu shook her head. Why should I be disappointed? Regardless of how many women he has, I am among his favorite ones. One sentence made Quang Lang fall silent directly. You might really have this confidence. You are good-looking, your body is soft. What about me? I don't seem to have that much confidence. Du Yuxin's words drilled into the ears of the three in the state of holding, and all three faces darkened simultaneously. And Bailu said coldly, does the Saint Lady really wish to challenge my Hanyu Valley by herself? His voice fell, and the autumn chill of Jiangnan seemed to step directly into the severe winter of the northern kingdom. An endless killing intent spread across the field. Du Yuxin's right hand index finger lifted gently. A tiny red spider lily suddenly emerged from her fingertip. The red spider lily trembled lightly, blooming throughout the void. Yes, in an instant, the entire void was occupied by this tiny red spider lily. To outsiders, it was merely a touch of scarlet at the fairy's fingertip. But to the three in the state of holding, this speck of scarlet was the whole world. They were under this world, looking at this red spider lily, as if seeing reincarnation. The Tao fruit of the reincarnation law. Han Bailu's pupils slowly contracted. I'm giving you one last chance. Agree or die. Du Yuxin gently twisted the red spider lily on her finger. The red spider lily that filled the sky before Han Bailu and the others suddenly blanketed the sky. Behind each petal was a storm of reincarnation, as if with a gentle breath they could be completely obliterated. Cold sweat ran down Han Bailu's back. Han Dongchuan's hair stood on end. The enormous difference in realm chilled their entire bodies. They finally truly realized the difference between true and false state of holding. Understanding the law and enter the Tao state, every move affected the heavenly mechanism's mystical mechanism, her reincarnation, indeed like reincarnation. Han Yan's entire body stiffened, slowly lifting her head. Though the Saint Lady's cultivation is truly supreme, do you really dare to act wantonly before my heavenly capital? The words heavenly capital, once spoken, changed the atmosphere of the scene. At least Han Bailu and Han Dongchuan had a sudden light in their eyes. Indeed, by cultivation, they truly couldn't surpass Du Yuxin. However, there was still a heavenly capital saintess. 6 paths and 9 gates, all under the heavenly capital. Do you really dare to act presumptuously before the heavenly capital saintess? Du Yuxin's bright eyes fell on Han Yan's face. Han Yan's gaze lifted, also meeting these cold eyes without fear. Du Yuxin said faintly, heavenly capital currently has 12 saintesses. Does Saintess Han know why there are 12? Han Yan was slightly taken aback. Du Yuxin said, 3,000 years ago, heavenly capital was like other sects with only one saintess per era. My husband personally killed one, heavenly capital replaced one, and the successor died at my hands within 3 years. Thus, the position of heavenly capital saintess became high risk, so to avoid frequent vacancies, the heavenly capital elder council at once filled up 12 saintesses. Understand. In everyone's ears, the cold seemed to roll. The heavenly capital saintess, representing the top disciple of the heavenly capital's face, she had killed one before. Not only had she killed before, her husband had killed before too. Saying this in front of Han Yan was chilling beyond belief. Han Yan's whole body abruptly tightened. The saint lady must know, today's situation is not the same as 3,000 years ago. Indeed, 3,000 years ago, even the heavenly capital saintess did not dare to act so impudently before this seat. I really wish to know, after 3,000 years, is it your heavenly capital that has swelled, or my reincarnation sect that has declined? Why not borrow your head today to test the reaction of the heavenly capital? As the voice fell, the red spider lily before Han Yan suddenly opened. Han Yan was greatly shocked. Her gyukin in her hand hummed and trembled violently, also expanding suddenly. However, in this expansion with a crack, the gyukin shattered, leaving only a single string, the string strummed like a sharp blade, slashing toward Han Yan's forehead. This lash. The other shore flower blooms. Lin Ziyasu's familiar other shore flower blooms. But compared to his own bloom with Feng Jai, the wonder of this move was beyond words. All the space was completely disrupted, all the rules were completely disrupted. Between heaven and earth, there was nothing else, only this deadly chin string. Han Yan's whole body went cold. She finally realized how vast the difference between herself and this reincarnation saintess of 3,000 years ago was.